Had a good review of all the natural features out there. We saw the existing houses, where the different slope implications were on the property, the existing main house and the larger property, if you will, that will remain on the site. So that was the first visit. Since then, there have been several other site visits to really get to know the neighborhood and the property.
You able to get in?
Looks like I'm in.
Oh, good.
Okay. Getting a little feedback. Hopefully that won't be bad.
There we go.
No. No camera microphone. Well, not this.
I'm going to find out. Please keep going.
Yeah, yeah, please.
He's bad with now, so they can take over. I sent him the report.
Yeah, so I'm going to try and share now. Share. Just get there. Oh, I can do entire screen.
He's right there.
He's bent over.
I want you. Great thing in that.
There we go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for your patience. So as was stated, this existing property is composed of 3 lots in block 7501, block 45, 47, and 48.
I'm just gonna, we're gonna mark this Exhibit A1, even though I suspect it's similar, exactly what was previously submitted more than 10 days in advance of tonight, because we went to so much trouble to get it up on the screen. Let's give it an Exhibit A1 designation. And again, what sheet and is it again, from what plan set with what last revised date?
It's labeled Steep Slopes Plan, which is sheet 4, revision 3, which is dated 3/31/25, and it is the same sheet as in the plan set that was submitted.
Okay, that's Exhibit A1. Thank you.
Sure.
Please continue.
Okay, so we have at the top of the sheet in the north is Three Gables Road. That wraps around to the east here. Then we come to Squirrel Road on the eastern side of the property and Eagle's Nest Road on the southern end of the property. As I stated, there are 3 lots. The larger width is lot 45. This is the existing main house on the property that you heard. There's a driveway from that property that winds all the way down to Three Gables Road. There are several outbuildings and sheds, et cetera, on this property. There's a tennis court on the property, which you heard about as well. And there are several other driveways that loop through the property, some back out to Three Gables Road, one cutting through the neighboring lot, which is one of these lots out to Squirrel Run. So that is the largest of the lots. Around the existing house, there are several nice mature trees and several tree stands which are surrounding that lot as well. To the south of the house, shaded in the dark color here, is the one steep slopes on the project site. That's over 25%. There are no other steep slopes on the property. There was also a previous structure on this lot along Three Gables Road that had been demolished. The other lot, Lot 48, which you heard, fronts on Three Gables Road. That lot line will be adjusted as part of this project, but the house itself will remain, and the driveway will remain in its current configuration out to Three Gables Road. The last lot is Lot 47, is approximately 1.4 acres, fronts on Squirrel Run Road. There's a driveway that goes out to Squirrel Run Road, which I mentioned, comes back to an old structure that's still standing. That's towards the center of the site, as I showed. As you heard, the property and the surrounding area is all in the RA 35 residential zone, and all those surrounding lots, as you can see, are developed with single-family lots. So you can see the lots at the top of here on the screen: Three Gables Road, Squirrel Run Road, Eagle's Nest, single-family lots, and behind us as well to the south of this property are also single-family lots. Aside from the steep slopes, which I mentioned, there are no other critical areas as streams, floodplains, or wetlands located on this property. So that's pretty much the existing condition on this lot. See if we go 2 for 2. I'm going to share. Next one. The window, not the screen. Okay. Generate per minute. Okay. This is represents our proposed development. So if you want to mark this, Mr. Warner.
Yep, Exhibit A2.
A2 is our dimension plan, which is sheet 7 in the set. Once again, it has revision 3 with that same revision date of 3/31/25. But on this plan, it is color rendered, and the landscaping is also superimposed on this sheet. So for this proposed project, again, it's a single-family cul-de-sac. What we're proposing coming off the Eagle's Nest is a cul-de-sac drive to come in approximately 800 feet long off of Eagle's Nest. And this will service 8 new single-family lots and the one remaining main house that you see here on the property. The other lot that you heard discussion of is the lot with the stormwater management. That's lot 1245.12. That will be along Three Gables Road. That's in the northwest section of the property here. The lot to remain is in the center of the property along Three Gables Road. That's the house that will remain along with the existing driveway. And the one new house that we're proposing on Three Gables Road, you see, is in the eastern section of Three Gables Road of our frontage. That's the one lot that'll be fronting there. The lot sizes, again, you heard that they're all conforming. 35,000 square feet is the minimum. The project, these lot sizes range from 36,896 square feet to 67,936 square feet for all the new lots. The largest lot, which will remain, which has the existing house on it, will be over 90,000 square feet. And the house on Three Gables also, with the remaining house, will be just over 44,000 square feet. So as you hear from those numbers, we're all above the RA 35 zone, which requires that 35,000 square foot minimum. We also meet all the other zone criteria. You heard that described. We meet the lot setback requirements, the lot widths, the lot areas I stated, as well as all coverages. So that was one of our goals of this project, was to design this project without variances. We wanted to show that we are, designing an appropriate project for this property and the 14.9 acre total that is on the site. And that's what we've done. And you heard the discussion about the one technical area for the lot depth on lot 12, which we don't meet.
Before we go off of that, while you mentioned it, can you address from a planning point of view your analysis of that basin lot?
Certainly. And I've done many projects like this where we have a basin lot. Some projects, they're incorporated on a larger project, usually multifamily. It's incorporated into homeowners association. Maybe it's on one of the lots. On this project, it's its own standalone lot, and again, which we've had many of. And those don't have the same function as a single family lot. You don't need room for the house. You don't need the rear yard or the separation. And that depth is clearly a function of needing a front yard setback, a house, and a rear yard setback. Again, those things won't apply to this lot. So I believe that zone requirement should not technically apply. If it does, I think we have good reasons to show why this is an appropriate lot. It's in the downstream part of the site. It's been sized appropriately, and I'll get into the stormwater discussion for this project. And instead of arbitrarily making that lot with meet and taking area away from one of the other lots or setback away, which we could fit on the project, it makes more sense to have it just right size for the project and not need to oversize that for a detention basin lot.
And you mentioned in a, say, multifamily context, there might be a homeowners association. This basin is intended to be dedicated to the township, correct?
That's correct. In early meetings with township staff, that was the direction that has been your custom for single-family developments, and often to make sure that they're properly maintained. Homeowners Association may do well for the first couple of years with the first owners, and then they get forgotten by the next series of owners after 10 or 15 years down the line. To describe the roadway, which we're proposing again, 24-foot wide road. It's going to be curved and it's going to have sidewalk on one side of the roadway. And that matches kind of the neighborhood and the context that we're in for the neighborhood for the roadway. As you can see, there's some curvature to the roadway, which we have here. Again, that was intentional. As I described, we walked the site. The proposed developer, myself, on several occasions. Around the house, there's some nice stand-up trees. As we get down towards where the cul-de-sac and the road's placed, there's some nice stand-up trees. As you know, with any development at this, of course, there's going to be some tree clearing as we come through. But we did locate some of the nicer stands, some of the specimen trees, and that's part of why we gave the configuration of the curvilinear nature to the road. Second benefit of that is it breaks up the houses. So instead of just a linear side-by-side house for each of the lots, you can have two and two grouped in these different areas, and they're spread out more. They're not all just stacked on top of each other and next to each other. So we feel that roadway network works for the site. Stormwater management, always a major component of a site plan or subdivision design. The lot generally slopes from south to north. We're going to collect the stormwater runoff in the roadway. There'll be inlets placed in that roadway, all piped down to the proposed stormwater basin. That's going to be a bioretention basin. I'll describe that a little more. And with that basin, you've probably heard many times, there's several components we need to hit with that. A reduction in peak flow, that's critical for the downstream property owners, what they're also most concerned of. There are also water quality provisions and groundwater recharge. So a soils investigation was done on the property, and it proved to be a good location and good soils for this bioretention basin. The requirement is that we not only hold the water back in that basin and reduce it to present levels, meaning prior to development, we actually, the township and the state standard is to reduce our discharge below that level. And the reason for that is as these go downstream, and you might have successive basins downstream, there's a cumulative effect. And also the reduction can take into account some of these crazy storms. It's not necessarily the 24-hour, 100-year storm. It's, you know, the 6-hour deluge that we seem to get. And that reduction factor that's required for these basins helps with those type of storms. So having said that, we meet the requirements for the discharge of peak stormwater flow. Bioretention basin will also help with the water quality aspects by having suspended solids drop out of the flow stream before it's piped downstream. And also for groundwater recharge. The soil in that basin is such, and the infiltration of that basin is such that we will get groundwater recharge. And there are township and state standards, as I said, and our report shows that we do meet each of those standards laid out for the project. So we think that again meets the requirements. Landscaping for the project. There were several steps when we looked at the landscaping. Obviously, we know we have neighbors on all sides of this lot, and we have a new roadway going in. So the first step were just the street trees to be placed along the road. And again, we even tried to save some groupings of mature existing trees, so we didn't have to put a newly planted tree along the side. We were able to keep 3, 4, 5 of these 6, 12, 18-inch trees to line the road. So in many locations, it won't look like a brand new road the entire stretch. We've also taken into account the neighbors on the property. So the one lot here, which is on Squirrel Run, that's lot 46. Very nice house, existing driveway off lot 46. And again, we front that lot on several places. So we've put stands of evergreens on both the south side and the north side of that lot. And we made sure that, to give some privacy there, as well as in the backyard here, which is the west side. Similarly, for the detention basin lot, as you're on Three Gables and you're looking up the hill to buffer the development, there's woods, as you'll see as you drive down Three Gables. Let me start with on the east side. We're retaining a nice stretch of wooded area along Three Gables in this easterly side. We won't be touching it on the center portion because that's the existing house. That drive will remain, but there will be some clearing at the detention basin lot. So in back of that lot, to provide a screen coming up the hill into the project, again, a double row of evergreens that we provided. And the last, there's a house in the southwestern corner of the screen here, which abutting our southwestern portion of our property. I meant to say, so that house actually has access. You go to the end of Three Gables, the very end of the cul-de-sac. There's a long driveway that comes up, and there's a driveway easement across a neighboring lot and our lot as well. And that cuts in, and that's how they have access into that lot. We're maintaining that access. We're not cutting it off. That easement will remain on this proposed lot. But we've have proposed plantings to buffer the proposed house from that driveway and that existing house. So again, we believe with the shade trees that we provided and with the pine trees we provided, over 140 trees in total to go with this project, that we've done our job landscaping the site as needed and again, working with those existing trees on the property.
Mr. Chairman,
While we're talking about.
I'm sorry if I may interrupt with the chair's permission. Can you just give us the lot number of the lot you were last referring to as with the access and the landscaping?
Certainly.
Is it lot 44?
44.
I believe so. I just wanted to confirm that my
I should have looked.
my own handwriting was bad, so I didn't want to say yes, lot 44.
Okay, thank you for that confirmation. My apologies.
No problem.
It's talking about landscaping. I know both you and I received a call from a relative of a neighbor with regard to the stormwater basin and requesting some additional landscaping. Is the applicant willing to do that? Can that be done?
Yes and yes. So again, the detention basin lot here, as I've described, in the northwestern corner fronting on Three Gables, and we have our spillway. And from a strictly engineering sense, that spillway is in a great spot. From a neighbor's aspect, I agree it is not. And again, a professional courtesy from the representative of the neighbor asked, can you move that spillway? And can you put landscaping not only behind the basin, but in front of the basin and to screen the spillway particularly? And yes, we will do that. And we can make that a condition of approval and, subject to your staff and also discussions with the neighbor. We have no problem with that.
Can you give us the lot number of that particular neighbor and maybe a bit more of a description of what that stipulated to condition would be? Where it would be located and what landscaping?
Yeah, so it would be, I would say along the street, we could put some street trees in. And then behind those, we could put evergreens in. So we get kind of the double of the, shade, the year or the seasonal shade, and then the year-round buffer there. And then I believe it is lot 36, which is directly across the street.
Okay, so the screening would go along Three Gables frontage and the lots across the street, so therefore that would be, it'd be screening from the road and the neighbor across the street, correct?
That's correct.
So we'd also be willing to move this, modify the spillway location.
That's correct. So we would move it left or west on the plan to get out of direct line of sight from basically the front of their house.
Got it, thank you.
And really for the project, only a few other technical things, utilities. There's a water main in Eagles Nest Road that's available. We'll tap into that. We'll bring a new main down our roadway and there'll be fire hydrants placed along that. We've been contacted with a review by the MUA, some technical comments, no problem in addressing those. Sanitary sewer, as I said, we slope basically from this uphill or from the south to the north. So there'll be a new sanitary line in our road. An easement will cut through our property and tie into the main. There's a main cuts across Three Gables. Will tie in just across the curb on Three Gables for that sanitary sewer connection. One other.
Mr. Chairman, if I could interrupt
Yes,
again,
sir.
I apologize. I'm starting to get good at this. It's dangerous. But on the sanitary sewer easement, if I recall correctly, our engineer's predecessor may have had a report, or let's see, it was a McDonald report, and might need to be a condition of approval. And then, just for the benefit of members of the public, conditions of approval are if they're stipulated to by the applicant, that's contingent on there being an approval. The board doesn't decide until the end whether there's an approval or not. But as part of the process, what we do is see if the applicant will stipulate two mitigating conditions to make the project more desirable or less undesirable, depending upon your opinion. But that doesn't mean anything is necessarily going to be approved. But we get these stipulations for the benefit of the board and the township in the event the application is approved. So with respect to that, I think, Joe, maybe there was a condition of approval for any sanitary sewer for the proposed subdivision bid to be subject to the approval of, well, I guess now it's, I don't know if it's still Mott McDonald, but
It is.
it is? Okay.
Yes, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Hartman, but in your April 2nd letter, you addressed stipulations to those prior comments.
Yes, we did. So we've addressed those. They did have a follow-up April 30th, and they acknowledged that the bulk of their comments were addressed. Again, a couple of technical things to work out. We have no issue. Again, I'll just refer, so it's on the record, the April 30th report from Mott McDonald. We will address all those comments.
And to be specific, I think you stipulated to compliance with the conditions required by the Southeast Morris County Municipal Utilities Authority, SMCMUA. But would that be specifically those enumerated on the 2 pages submitted by them dated August 13th, 2025?
That is correct.
Okay, so now we have that specificity. Thank you. Please, with the chair's permission, please continue.
Just as we're talking about reviews and all, so as I stated, we did have the opportunity to have a TCC meeting with your staff, and those comments were addressed. There were review comments from Mr. Hanson back in March, Mott McDonald, as we said, and the Environmental Commission as well. And those were all incorporated into our resubmittal on this March 31st set that you have before you. We had also resubmitted to the Soil Conservation District. We have their approval. And we've submitted to the county. They had we're down to 2 comments for them to give them some backup flow data for our stormwater basin. It's pretty technical. We have no issues with that. We've already looked at those. We see no issue complying with those comments as well.
Any, is that?
Yeah, I think that hits it. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I have a question relative to stormwater management. As I'm reading through the material, and this is for my benefit and the benefit of the public as
Yes.
well. It's indicated that there are 7 storm drains throughout the project that one assumes are eventually feeding to this retention basin.
Yes.
And you mentioned the spillway discharge. Where is that going? Where's the spillway discharge going?
The spillway overflows and then down to 3 Gables Road.
And is there a storm drain there, or what was it discharging into?
Yeah, there is a storm drain in the roadway. So with every project, we designed for a 2-year storm, a 25-year storm, and a 100-year storm. On top of that, there's a spillway storm that basically is even more water that has to be basically captured in the basin and controlled. So anything going over that, and eventually, no matter how much we design, there's always one bigger storm. So you want to design it so that you don't lose the whole berm of the detention basin. It's a a mini dam, but it's not that high. So you want it to be controlled, and that has some stone on it so it doesn't wash out, and that will be not directed to a neighbor, but down to 3 Gables, and then there are inlets in 3 Gables.
So just to reiterate my understanding, the system is designed to contain the flow of water so that it should not, except under really extraordinary circumstances, be flowing into anyone else's property.
That's correct, and I was happy on this project because I don't always have that. Sometimes downstream, there's not a road or stormwater system,
Right.
and the water naturally went there, but it's still a neighbor's. This time I have a roadway and I have a stormwater system.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes,
quick
Mr. Russell.
question. I'm struggling with this. It's 12 lot subdivision,
12 lots, but
and one of the lots is a detention basin,
correct.
and you're building 9 homes?
9 new homes. They're going to be 2 existing homes to remain.
Now I got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Boone.
Thank you. I have a few questions. One is, in the description of application, in your application, there's a 1-page so-called description of application, and it says there are 2 houses on lot 45. When I inspected the property, I only found a large masonry home. Where is the other home?
I wrote the description, Mr. Brown,
Okay,
based on one of the plans I had in my file. It showed a house down kind of near where the stormwater basin lot was going to be.
Oh.
Reviewing tonight, I saw there was a different plan with a later date, and it said
it's,
something like
Has
site
been-
of demolition.
has
So I
been
think it's
raised.
already been
Yeah.
removed.
okay,
But at the time I submitted, one of the plans showed it still existed.
oh, okay, good, thank you.
That's all correct, yes.
Then I wanted to ask about tree removal, the tree removal ordinance, and this gets into comments from the Environmental Commission. Is this the right time to ask this question? The survey that you did just involved sampling a couple of relatively small areas on the property for the trees that are present.
That's correct.
And, I wondered under what authority you could do that. The Environmental Commission recommended that there be a full survey.
So, yeah, we've often done sampling areas. Again, we picked some of the more critical, what we thought were the critical trees and areas that we walked the property. So anyway, that's why we picked that, is because that's kind of a standard in the industry to do some sampling. We do recognize that the Environmental Commission had looked for detail. They did have a comment about other options going forward. And as we spot the houses, we can work with the Environmental Commission in placing those houses or grading as best we can as well.
We have no objection to as we go forward with the project. If the project gets approved, we go forward lot by lot, coming up with a removal plan. So maybe we can tag certain trees to work around or save, that sort of thing.
Well, I guess that an inventory is what the Environmental Commission wants first. An inventory of what trees are there, particularly specimen trees. And in terms of using a sampling method rather than a full survey, I think it's this board's discretion to allow you to do that. I don't think it's the discretion of the applicant to do that.
We would propose that we be allowed to do it because of, frankly, the cost of time that's involved in plotting every tree. As I said, going out once the lots are established on a particular lot, working with the Environmental Commission or Mr. Voigt or whoever it may be, to identify on that lot how to best save trees on that particular lot. We're more than willing to do that.
I guess I don't.
Otherwise, we're going through a mathematical exercise that I'm not sure what it achieves.
Don't know how other board members feel. It seems to me that at least within the limit of disturbance, and at least for specimen trees, it would be nice to catalog every tree.
Yes.
Yeah, I was a little puzzled at the methodology of that, in that, you know, you picked a couple areas, one area which is shown as wooded and did that, and then one area which was fairly open with just some standing trees. So you did 0.4 total acres, 0.2 acres had like 4 trees on them. I don't know if that's representative of the entire lot, because there are large areas in there that you show as wooded, and then say, wooded area to be removed, without any idea. Now, I've walked the site, and many of those areas are pretty trashy, overgrown looking, but and for the most part, I applaud that you've left those wooded areas where you could, but I really don't feel comfortable with some of the trees that are in those wooded areas. Are difficult to see, some of the larger ones.
Mr. Chairman, may I add to your comments?
Yes.
I'm reading the Environmental Commission's statement, and they are referencing the fact that the project proposes to remove 207 trees based on the sample estimate, with only 49 being replaced, which seems to
No, that's been
Yeah.
changed.
those are specimen trees, but that, I'm just curious to know if you take the sample approach, that gives you that answer, but if you were doing a full inventory, would that come up with a different number of replacement trees? They're specimens.
To the engineer.
I mean, I think, as you said, and you're correct, is that we picked a more dense area and a less dense. We've walked this several times, and that's what's out there. If you look at just the tree canopy, it's pretty covered, but underneath there's a lot of scrub, a lot of brush, and it is not that dense for all of it. And yeah, I think as we were saying, that was their initial report, and then we did add numerous trees to bring the total up to what I testified.
What's the new total again?
Oh, I don't have it here. 141. Combination of shade.
That you're removing or
Removing or adding?
Adding.
Adding.
So that's a combination of shade trees and the larger pine trees.
So
and
from
I did-
49 to 141, basically.
Yeah.
Yes.
And of
And
course,
from
if
150
the board gets, there'll be a monetary contribution for the differential between the removal and the replacement.
Okay, so two questions related to that. That's the 207 total that you came out, that you calculated based on your sampling to be the replacement need, right? I mean, you took the total, the 0.4 acres, and there's one, whatever it is, total acreage of trees that'll be removed, and calculated the percentages, throwing in a couple of specimen trees because they're probably underrepresented to come up with that number. So there's two questions. Two questions total. One is, does that, how much would that 207 change if you did a full sample? And the other is, yes, you did switch from the, or was it 49 trees to be replaced and 158 to be donated, and you switch that around dramatically to your credit. 141 to be replaced and 66. Now you're saying you're willing to put more trees down to shield the detention basin. So that would further reduce that 66 number, I gather, and add to that 141. That correct?
That's correct. Just one other point, just wanted to say, as far as the tree height specifically on the evergreens, is that we also have increased from a 5 to 6 foot height, acknowledging that, day one, that's not as good as some others. So we've bumped those to 7 to 8 foot high, which is kind of larger than the standard, subdivision evergreen to put in. So we at least wanted to bump that up as well.
I'd like to piggyback on this whole theme with trees being replaced. I mean, these numbers were calculated based on your sampling. Is it possible to actually keep an accurate count as you're doing the development of the trees that are taken out? So this 158, let's say there's a 10%, 20% factor, above or below that number, that we can actually get an accurate count as to what needs to be replaced, because I feel that might be a little low.
We wouldn't take issue. I think that's a fair assessment, and we could, obviously, with whatever township staff, to be on site to make sure before trees come down, they're counted.
Come up with just like you do a grading plan for each lot, we can do a tree removal plan for each lot with exact count of trees coming out and going in. But we prefer to do it as opposed to a mass calculation, lot by lot, as it's set to develop, so we can be more thoughtful as to what we take out and how we set the improvements on that lot.
I would appreciate that. Thank you.
Where's Mr. Butch?
I think he was fixing the echoes.
Yeah.
Oh,
We have
Our
a,
engineer.
well,
I think
we'll wait
he
till
did.
it comes back in.
It was a civil engineer.
Oh, there he is. Okay.
There he is.
Did you get any of that?
Joe, your new job is counting trees.
Right.
You've been
Yeah.
assigned.
So there was some prior dialogue back and forth with Mr. Hanson, and understanding that one of the options offered by the applicant was to do that walkthrough. I'm comfortable going through and leading that team of our professionals and walking through where we think it'd be appropriate to supplement the existing, and then determining what that deficit is that would be paid in contributions.
So the potential stipulated to condition of approval would be, just to paraphrase, a lot by lot removal and replacement plan, subject to the review and approval of you
Yes.
and Just you.
We'll make it me. It'll be my engineering department, but it'll be under my signature.
Township engineer.
With the Environmental Commission.
Say, Mr. Moore?
With the Environmental Commission.
So I will,
In consultation with.
I will consult with, but
However-
I think I don't want to empower them outside their jurisdiction of our code. So,
I understand.
Okay.
Their comments are very good. I
Yes.
really applaud the Environmental Commission
And-
for all the work that they've done. It's very impressive.
Right.
And I like them somehow to be a part of this
Yeah.
and not feel like they're excluded after all this work.
no, absolutely. I think
So,
we should include in the
However that
language-
gets included.
We could include in the language their consultation
Yeah.
and their participation in the walkthrough. At some point, it will have to be one person's pen, and that will singularly be me. So I'll take the blame for any lack of full satisfaction of their concerns. But we were looking at what I believe to be a roughly 66 tree deficit, that we understand there's some room for addressing that lot by lot, and then that number could be reduced to then.
I'm not sure we know what the
contribution.
deficit is because the sampling method was used. So if the count is done lot by lot, you might come up with a deficit that's quite different.
Okay.
As I
Understood.
understand the stipulation, Mr. Brady, and please correct me if I'm wrong, you're agreeing to the lot by lot for confirmation of the replacement obligation, not just simply what's going to happen with a presumed 66 deficit. The deficit may be different than 66, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and that's inherent in your explicit, I should say, in your stipulation, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
So it serves two purposes. It'll keep us from just doing mathematical exercise at this point. It'll get a more accurate count for the township, and it'll allow us to kind of coordinate with the township as to maybe how to save certain trees and place improvements, so everybody hopefully wins in that situation.
Much appreciated.
Okay, thank you. I had a couple more comments based on the Environmental Commission report. One was, questions, I should say. One was, they had a comment that I thought was a little bit vague about the bioretention basin. They just said the EC was unable to determine if the bioretention basin is sufficient. So I didn't know where to take that. Who decides whether the basin is sufficient, and who reviews that?
Joe,
That's on page 3, number
Joe.
5 in
That's our
our
engineer.
report.
Joe,
that's Joe.
Joe would do that.
You're saying in Mott's letter, in the environmental?
Environmental.
It'll be
Number
on
5
the EC
on
report.
page 3.
Number,
I have it here.
Yeah, that was their findings, not their recommendations.
Right, I think they just said it. 'cause
Number
they're
5?
not qualified
Right.
to comment on stormwater, or that
page 3, number
they
5.
made it noted that it's a feature of the plan and should be looked at.
Yeah.
It should be addressed.
If you look at page 5.
Yeah,
if I
so
may,
the
Mr. Chairman,
acceptance of stormwater management design,
Yeah.
the major development standards is solely under my review purview and is certified to the state by me as your reviewer for your board and your township.
And the commission recognizes that on page 5, item 5, where they say the board should determine from the engineer if it meets both the state and township levels.
So have you reviewed whether the basin is sufficient? Or do you believe it can be made sufficient with the footprint that's there?
I believe so, yes.
Did had one question on possible stormwater effects on that lot 44. Most of the lot slopes away from it, but the construction on lot 3, 4503, that construction could impact. It just conceivable could impact the water flow down into that existing lot 44 house.
I think you're getting at, yeah, the slope goes somewhat east-west or
Yeah,
on this plan.
from where the housing location on
Right.
lot 4503 is there. There's some slope down in towards 44, it appears.
So I would say we'll, make sure to direct the roof drains so they don't go there. And if
Okay.
The actual slope of the land, it takes a good portion of the lot, and we'll be cutting a good bit off to go to the road. But again, we'll have to do plot plans for each of those, and if you want to note that a particular concern for your engineer to, review as far as the plot plan goes, that would be, certainly something we would adhere to.
Which lot is that, Mr. Chairman?
14 or 4503, which, while we're there, on 4503, you said you meet all of the zoning standards. It's not, did I misread the drawing? I looked on the drawing that 1403 is less than 175 feet frontage on the road, and it's not exactly on the cul-de-sac, at least unless I'm interpreting it wrong. In the table, I believe it showed the width at the street line or at the right of way was
Less than 175 feet deep.
no, less than 170 feet, or no, I'm sorry, 75 feet wide, or whatever the lot width is. I can't remember the chart right now. It meets it at the setback and 40 setback plus 40 feet, but I thought it. Unless I
Yeah,
was-
we measured lot width, as our board certainly is well aware, in
Right.
3 different places. And arguably the third is for a distance.
Right.
And I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, which
This
lot
one.
again was that?
3,
45.
4503. I thought in the chart, the chart accompanied on whatever plot that was.
You are correct. It does say that on the chart. To me, it looks, I'm going to have to double check that
Okay.
to see if that was a typo. on the
Maybe you
chart.
could check, it looks like it might meet it on the plans. It's
Yeah.
just the chart might, but certainly if you need that relief, then that has to be a part of this
Right.
hearing.
Yeah.
And the other, related again to 1403, since that's the lot that's encroacher that has some of the Indiana bat habitat on it, would you stipulate to agreeing to the tree felling restrictions, the happier tree felling restrictions in that area?
Certainly, and let me hit that. That actually was in one of my side notes. So as discussed, the existing house I'm showing here and the steeper areas are on the southern part.
Right.
The good news, we're not touching any of those steep
Right.
slopes. Those are in the woods. We're not touching those. That's also the overlay zone from the Environmental Commission and our check on the
Right.
DEP where that is. So we're not planning to take trees down, so I can definitely stipulate.
Okay.
We'll hold to that in that
Just
area. that
like
was
some of
designated.
the wooded area to be cleared
Mhm.
on other, overlap that slightly.
Yeah, well,
Okay, but as long as you just stipulate that
Yeah.
no trees will be removed, that's fine. I'm happy with that. And one other possible deviation that I didn't mention was the retaining wall at the back of the retention basis, I believe is 7.5 feet high and we
Yep.
would allow 6.
Yep. So for that, and again, I wasn't sure if that pertained to others than single-family lots.
Okay.
Yeah, so 7.5 feet. So that one we would ask for. I think I can get that grading down. I looked at the grading behind the wall, but I can't swear to that on the record. So I think we would ask
Okay.
for that deviation
Okay.
if the board is so inclined. And
So
again-
we're agreeing to, that we have a retaining wall height variance required of 7.5 feet versus 6 feet maximum permitted on lot 4512, otherwise known as a stormwater bioretention basin lot, correct?
That's correct. And it only occurs for a short portion of the wall, not the entire wall.
So while we're talking about that, since we're now requesting the variance for that, Mitch, is from a professional planning point of view, what testimony can you give to support that variance?
So the intent with the walls, and we have some shorter ones around the site as well, around the driveways and the houses as they step down. The intent of those walls is to limit the grading. By limiting the grading, we can limit the tree disturbance. So they go hand in hand. So in that part, the basin actually fit well. There's a little bit of a natural depression, or probably not natural from when that old structure was there, but somewhat grown over. So that'll limit the amount of grading and disturbance that we have to do in that area. So I think that this supports the intent of your ordinance to limit tree clearing, and supports the intent of municipal land use law as well.
Does the benefit then of exceeding the ordinance outweigh any detriments?
Yes, it does.
And the chairman talked about whether or not there may be a differential between your chart and what's shown on the plan regarding the width of 4503. Could you discuss that from a planning point of view?
Yeah, from a planning point, we believe, as you see on this plan, that the house fits well on that lot. There's good frontage on the property. There's good spacing between the adjoining lots, and we meet the setback there. So I would, in my professional opinion, from a planning standpoint, the lots are laid out well. It works good with the subdivision plan, and it supports the intent to provide housing in appropriate locations in the appropriate zone of the township.
If I may, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, please.
Are we to read into that the chart was correct and you do need that lot width variance at the frontage? Have you been able to confirm that?
I've not fully confirmed that. If we take a few minutes, I can, but if the
Okay.
council wanted to get it in the
Wanted to
record.
Cover it before I forgot it, Mr.
No, you wanted to put the proofs on for the deviation just in case you actually had a deviation. Okay.
But
Well, all right, so
one
we'll-
other question on that retaining wall height, because of the construction of the berm and the front, can you see that retaining wall from the street?
Not once we put up our screening that we're
Well, even
proposing.
without the screening, does the
Without
the berm wall on the street side shade it?
That
with
would
the slope?
shade most of it. You
Okay.
might be able to see the top little piece,
But the additional screening would
Yeah.
certainly.
yeah, but it is largely screened from the berm on the
Okay.
down end.
Thank you.
Downslope side.
Mr. Chairman, I have a different subject to bring up when we're ready.
I have more EC stuff. So, should we wait for him?
Yeah, I don't know what we're doing.
He's trying to,
He's calculating. We lost the.
If we can take a minute, we may have, I think the chart may have been in error, because we
Okay.
do have on our overall plan on sheet 5, we've actually, took the effort to put the actual dimensions
Oh, okay.
at your setback and at your extra 40-foot setback line. So it should be 184.97
okay.
versus,
Oh, instead of 134, whatever it is, I think, or whatever it's listed.
yeah.
Okay, so you think the chart is in error, but on the plan.
Chart's an error. My testimony is, we can skip my planning testimony, and the 189.97 is,
Okay, thank you.
Actually does seem to be a bit short.
Yeah.
If you look at lot 45.03, it looks like it's required to be 175 at the
Right.
street line. It looks like it's 174.31.
Oh,
Keep the planning testimony on for that.
Yeah.
yeah, right, okay. So it's,
yeah.
okay, 8 inches short.
So I have
Okay.
one more question. From
Yes,
from the
yeah.
EC report.
No,
The EC.
wait a minute.
Oh, sorry.
Mr. Ardman, I think there's a question from a board member.
Yes.
The EC report mentions a known contamination site and also mentions a cleared, mounded, fenced section of land on Eagle Nest. And it says that the EC thinks that those two may be the same location, but it's not sure. Can you comment about that?
Mr. Chairman, that's one thing that I was able to get a copy of, and I submitted to the board. I don't have enough for every member. It's from Verdantis, which is an environmental company headquartered in Somerville, I believe, yes. It's issued by the licensed site remediation professional hired by the owner of the property. And it indicates that I'll read the pertinent parts. I hereby issue this response action outcome for the remediation of the areas of concern specifically referenced above. The reference is former barnyard debris area. It's my professional opinion that this remediation has been completed in accordance with or in compliance with the administrative requirements for the remediation of contaminated sites. The department may audit this response action outcome and associated documentation for up to 3 years. So it's a licensed site remediation professional under the protocol, and you're a licensed site remediation professional, unlike in the old days where you had to submit plans to the DEP and wait months and months and months, and now longer for responses. A licensed site remediation professional is kind of a chimera, part private and part public. And because of that, they have certain obligations and they have certain powers to sign off when the site has been properly remediated. The only item that remains present that was not counted for was cobalt. And it says, please be advised that concentrations of cobalt were detected in the soil above the department's residential contact standards. However, these concentrations are associated with natural background levels of materials in the soil pursuant to NJSA 58:10 remediation beyond the natural background level is not required. So that site has been addressed.
What's the date of that letter?
I'll hand a copy to you, Mr. Warner. The date is May 19th, 2025. It's addressed to Barbara L. Easley, 2012 Revocable Trust.
And this is the official Exhibit A3 as referenced for the record.
Mr. Chairman, would you like, I got 2 extra copies if the board wants to hand them around.
No, I'm good. We're good.
Okay.
They're part of the record. We're okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
my question, I want to go back to the Indiana bat because the Environmental Commission stated that it's a critical wildlife habitat on Lot 45, and yet the response that came from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service in March of 25 indicated that their records show the nearest known bat roosts are 2 miles from the site, and that probably at most they would be using this for foraging and roosting, but not living on this property. So I know we're all concerned about these bats, but it doesn't appear from the Wildlife Services response that is as critical as the Environmental Commission may have suggested in the beginning. So I just want to ask for some comment on that, if I could.
So if you're looking to me, I do agree. I didn't want to argue the point, but it does not substantially affect our project. As I said, the slope is behind the main old house, and it's only a time delay when some trees can be removed. So no, our client is a work with the board instead of fight the board client. That's why we like working with them. So knowing that it will not hamper the development, we'd rather err on the side of caution. But in my review of that and the DEP site, I don't feel there's probably an impact to be had.
So it's a question more of managing your timing of work that possibly could affect their foraging, for
Correct.
example, as opposed to really getting into their living habitat. That doesn't seem to me like that would be a heavy lift for anybody.
Agreed.
If I may, so I'm clear now, because I'll be the one if it's an approval drafting the conditions. Are we agreeing then to the removal of trees not occurring during April 1 to September 30, or we're not going
Yes,
there?
we agree to that, but only in the overlay area, which might have affected.
They
the
have a
property.
bat
Yeah,
map.
right.
They have a
Yes,
bat
right.
map they showed
Yeah,
us.
not,
In the bat map area.
Okay.
not the.
Trying to remember what the butler, what was the butler's name?
Alpha.
Alfred, thank
We're
you.
dating ourselves.
There we go.
Careful.
Yeah, so Mr. Warner, not.
So I think that makes it very reasonable. They're protected in the back, but they're not constrained as much as we originally thought.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, this kind of question, it kind of relates to that, but I want to be sure I've got it correct. So there's currently, according to the Environmental Commission, over 7 acres of wooded lot. And the development will take up about 1.8 acres. Basically, we leave, will be 5 1/4 or so acres remaining of just wooded lot, right? Behind the homes in the south, and that would be like a good wildlife area. It won't
Correct.
be developed, it'll be fully treed, it'll be a regular forest.
Correct.
So out of the,
Not that large.
well, it's 5 1/4, yeah, well,
Yeah.
the whole thing is 14, almost 15. Currently,
All
it says,
all the darker green areas on the map, right?
Mhm.
Are the wooded, remain wooded, or will remain wooded.
the darker areas of the map will be remaining wooded, is that
Right.
right?
Yes.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Because the street will be a municipal street?
Yes, it will.
Township, which means, do you have a proposed name, or does our street naming committee
They've
actually?
they've never named the street yet.
It's a job.
So I'd pick whatever you wish.
Okay. So it will be,
Corner Drive.
and I,
No,
I kind of like Batman Drive.
No.
We'll work with, often there's a town list or a historic committee. We have no,
No, we have a subcommittee.
yeah, we do have a subcommittee. We've been looking for something for them to do, and
Right.
okay.
for several years now.
Hopefully.
We'll see what happens.
We even forgot who was on.
Except I told them that they couldn't get off the committee until I actually named the street, so I hope that they don't take the opportunity to leave. Lighting, I guess. Is there, I didn't recall seeing that.
We're not proposing
You're not proposing
street
any
lights.
street lights, okay.
Right.
Yeah, that's certainly dark sky compliant.
Can we do that?
Is that consistent with any municipal code?
So it essentially differs through RSIS and obligations, and then we would look at the surrounding neighborhood, the characteristic of
Okay.
the existing community on Eagles Nest,
Okay,
and then try to assimilate this proposal into that neighborhood as opposed to establishing a new standard
Okay.
in the dead end subdivision.
okay, within
Right,
surrounding.
so that would be, all aspects of RSIS as it relates to a subdivision on accessibility of sidewalks and
Right.
the lighting and the overall corridor matching consistently what we have on Eagles Nest rather than establishing new.
Would that be something then that's TBD as a condition of approval if there is an approval?
Yeah, would the applicant.
Yes, we would. And in my review of the neighborhood, potentially at the intersection of Eagles Nest, there are some, it varies a little bit, but yes, we work with your engineer to come up with a standard. That can be a condition.
And I assume any streetlights would be,
Dark-
compliant with our lighting requirements of the ordinance.
One other quick question related to the street, and that I believe the plans show sidewalk on the east side of the street
Correct.
and not on the west side.
Right, one side.
What are the dotted lines that run down in the easement there? That I think possibly the EC got confused as possible encroaching on the roots of, possible hazards to the roots, some of the trees you want to save.
Yeah, so there will be utility lines down
Okay.
from the end of the cul-de-sac going north,
Okay.
a storm drain line and the sanitary line.
Okay, okay. So there's possible route, okay. Except that is within that, I think at least that large oak tree down there with that protective fencing is.
Yeah,
okay.
we'll work around those.
Right, okay. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes,
I
Mr.
have
Coon.
2 more questions. One is in the TCC report from February, there's an entry, it's number 5 on page 2, that says the TCC advised the applicant to consider prohibiting any new lot access from Eagle Nest Road. And I know your plan doesn't show any such access, but I wondered whether that's something that could be codified in some way. So if somebody wants to build a driveway from Eagle Nest, I'm not sure what the process would be, but as part of this development,
Stated somewhere.
could that be prohibited?
We can agree to, I guess, basically, Mr. Warner, deed restrict those,
Yeah, I'm sorry, you entered the first two lots.
the first two lots.
Okay, 4506 and 5.
Yeah.
4505 and 4506 to be deed restricted, to not have any, bear with me, access directly from Eagle Nest Road,
Agree.
correct?
Yes, and agreed, yes.
And, got it.
And actually, Steve, in one instance, from Squirrel Run to Eagle, looking at the shape of that one lot.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
7 could go, well.
There was 4505 and 06, and the other one was 07?
Same lot.
07 to go on,
Second lot there.
go on to school run.
Well, technically 07 has frontage, so you can include that.
07
Got it.
has that access now.
And my other question is about a different topic. In one of the construction detail pages, and I don't remember which one it was, I don't want to make a racket opening this big package again, but I saw there is on your plans a topsoil reserve pile,
Yes,
and it's located right behind lot 46. So just uphill, I guess, to the south of lot 46. It's just within a couple of feet of the property line. And the topography there slopes down toward lot 46. So I wondered whether that would be an issue for those neighbors and whether that's something you could consider moving.
we could definitely, on the detail sheet, they're meant to be graphic in nature, and that's part of the plot plan submission to the township engineer. And for soil erosion, you kind of need to show that in that submission, so we can definitely work on that placement. That's not an
Okay,
issue.
that'd be helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Anything else from our professionals?
I'll defer to the other two first, if I may.
Okay.
So, regard to this, the stormwater management, the proposed to the basin, you had indicated early on that there were conversations with my predecessors regarding the dedication of the basin to the township, consistent with the roadway as well, part of a prior established practice in the township.
That's correct.
Okay. For the board's understanding, I think that can be identified as a condition and stipulation, but respectfully, it's not your jurisdiction to make the decision for the municipality. That the township would need to, as a governing body, receive that request and then make their determination if they want to receive the basin or if it should be put into a, the word we all fear, a homeowners association over those homes. The practices in the stormwater rules and the changes in the stormwater rules have somewhat necessitated that conversation specifically to be deferred and then discussed at the township level, as opposed to what was inherently happening is the approvals were dedicating lands by deed, by filed map in major subdivisions to a township, and the governing body was not formally accepting them. It was a formality, so to speak. So I just wanted to clarify that for everybody, that it is essentially a deferred conversation that needs to come to the governing body as well.
So the condition from the applicant as stipulated, if the board were to grant the approval and accept, the condition would be, and I'm paraphrasing, we have to go to the governing body and do what we can to get it.
Right. So, and our team here, professionals have dealt with this in other municipalities together, that deferral is the condition of your approval being that it would be understood to be a public dedicated basin and that land being dedicated, and then the governing body will either corroborate that or if denied, then turn it back to the board and I guess an amended approval.
Okay. Oh, yeah, okay.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
I expect they'll approve it.
And I just wanted to bring that to your attention. It's a transition between the prior engineer, my tenure and the prior practices. So where it's appropriate in single-family dwelling, smaller density developments like this of a certain number of homes, if we were talking about a much larger tract with not only dead ends and other things, it might be different. So I just want to carry that torch forward from the existing practices.
Thank you.
And I think technically my comments and what I had inherited are all satisfied.
Okay.
So move on to the other professionals.
The only outstanding item I have from the TCC report, just if you could confirm that the proposed subdivision is going to be fully compliant with RSIS.
Yeah, I would say that, in my opinion, technically the roadway exceeds RSIS. And if there's a technical approval for exceedance with the 24-foot wide road, there are provisions in RSIS to have much more narrow roads. I personally don't think it's appropriate to be much more narrow than 24 feet, and hence why we've proposed this and have worked with prior staff on that. So if Joe is...
Yeah, and that was corroborated in correspondence between our predecessors as well as the applicant's engineer. So it would be consistent with the minimum standard of RSIS as well as consistent with our code on the proposed roads in a subdivision being at 24 feet. So I don't think we have to address it as an exception.
Okay.
I think we can acknowledge that it meets a minimum RICES standard, which is why RICES exists.
Right.
Just real quick, back to the TCC report, though, just for confirmation. Item 2 dealt with the slope disturbance. Have we confirmed? Liz, we've confirmed that there's no waiver required there, correct? Okay. But we've also confirmed, consistent with the report, the TCC report that is of February 17, 2025, that there is a variance required for the retaining wall height, which was addressed, and a variance required for the lot depth of the stormwater management lot, i.e. 4512, and that was addressed. One variance that was, bear with me. Okay, right. And then we have the, I lost track. We have one more variance.
45.03.
4503, which was the, oh, yes,
8-inch.
significant lot width at the frontage variance, got it. And that was addressed as well.
Yes, I mean, de minimis and...
Yeah, you're gonna put your planning testimony back on, not having withdrawn it, you're gonna put it back on,
Lower
okay.
name. Thank you.
Those, I believe, are the only 3 variances now that we've identified, okay, and no waivers. Okay, all right, I'm good for now, Mr. Chairman,
Okay.
thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, then I would open it up for public questions at this point. Questions of the witness on the testimony. There'll be time for comments later, but right?
Chairman,
Yes.
if I may, I'm just wondering, this is your only witness, Mr. Brady?
No.
Yes. the
Oh, so we-
citizens
Other than-
Oh, okay.
Other than potentially reserving your right to, for any rebuttal or what have you, correct? Okay.
Okay, in that case,
Mr. Chairman, if you wanted, you could do questions.
okay, then I
That's
think
where I
we
was
will do
going,
that.
the Chair's
Although-
discretion.
Okay, so we will ask you to state your name and address, and then we will swear you in since if you do say anything, part of the comment section.
Yep.
So,
And that'll hold true for everyone.
For
So this
everyone
gives you
who
the
may wanna speak.
opportunity. Your comment has the weight of testimony, just like the testimony from Mr. Ardman, very important, and also gives you the free will, if you will, to sometimes questions become comments, comments become questions. You don't have to worry about that. So I'll swear everyone in. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to God or affirm testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Name and address, please.
Stephen Philippone, 510 Sunpine Drive, Mays Landing, New Jersey.
Mays Landing.
140 miles away.
As the
And you're wondering, why am I here?
yes.
The reason I'm here, my sister Kathy O'Neill and Michael O'Neill live on Three Gables Road, number 14. It's lot 36, as was correctly stated. I'm a professional engineer, professional planner, certified municipal engineer. I recently retired from a firm called Engineering Design Associates in Ocean View, New Jersey, down in Cape May County. I'm a municipal engineer to a number of towns, planning board engineer, zoning board engineer, certified municipal. I've done this all my life, the same as Mr. Ardman is doing now. I had a chance to review the plans on behalf of my sister, Kathy, and Michael. And there's some Marcus here, my nephew. And I just want to say that Mr. Ardman,
Did the mic go?
it just
Sonia?
I think because of the feedback.
Yeah, the feedback was yeah, it was just ear splitting.
There we go. Yeah, keep it nearby.
I had an opportunity to review the plans, and Mitchell did an excellent job. I called Mitchell while I was reviewing the plans. I called Mr. Brady. He followed all of the state standards, best management practices, and my interest in this project was to protect my sister and brother-in-law who live directly across the street from the stormwater basin. The basin is 2.7 feet deep. It's going to have a split rail fence with a split rail fence with vinyl coating. They would see the top of the retaining wall, but my request, and I commend the applicant for meeting our needs, and that are to provide the same type of landscaping on the north side of the basin that's shown on the south side. The landscaping, the evergreens are protecting the new house and buffering the new house. We're asking that we get the same buffering to my sister's property, who's been there for 40 years, and they're going to comply with that. We would also like shade trees, the same shade trees, native New Jersey shade trees that they proposed on the cul-de-sac, and they've agreed to that. We're very pleased. The applicant has been very respectful to me, answered my questions, answered my phone calls. I did notice one other thing when I was out there tonight. The storm inlet that's on Three Gables Road is, it's constructed of concrete block with mortar. And sometimes with older inlets, the mortar kind of degrades. And so there's a little settlement around that inlet structure. So I just wanted to point that out, if that could be made part of the plans that did do this minor repair to this B inlet that's on Three Gables Road. And also the other thing is, and that inlet structure is something they're going to connect into. The water that comes out of the stormwater basin is controlled by an orifice, but it's actually piped into the back of that inlet. So they'll be connecting into it. While they're connecting into it, if they could just do a thorough repair of that inlet structure. And I just have one more thing to say. The sanitary sewer for this project is going to connect into, it's going to cross Three Gables Road and connect into a sewer easement that's actually on my sister and brother-in-law's property, just on the other side of the sidewalk. And the only thing I ask is that a notation is put on the plans to repair in kind, whatever they do to tear up this, to remove the sidewalk. My sister has some plantings near the mailbox, and if anything's disturbed, if it could be repaired in kind. With that, it's been a pleasure to review a very, very good set of plans, and the applicant's engineer and attorney have been a pleasure to deal with on the phone, and we just want to thank them, my sister and I, and my nephew, Mark O'Neill.
Yeah,
I appreciate the kind words, and will agree to the requests that were made regarding fixing up that inlet and actually make sure we replace in kind whatever.
I believe that's in the general notes, but it's nice to hear that specifically. Right. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
My name is Arthur Hedge. I live at 30 Laura Lane, and I've been there since 1999.
Please raise your right hand, Mr. Hedge. Do you swear to God or affirm testimony about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir, I do.
Thank you. Please proceed. Questions, comments, or votes?
Sure. My first is a question. At the end of this whole project, how many trees will be removed in total at the end of this project? We'll have less trees than we do today, correct?
That's correct. And I think that was the 200 and some number of trees that we said were going to be removed. As we went on the record saying we will do a specific lot by lot count, and if the number goes down, that's great. If it does go up, though, we're committed to providing additional replacement trees where possible and/or making the contribution that's needed.
And
What is,
and for Mr. Hedges' benefit, how many trees are we pledging to replace under our current plan? 166, correct? Or is it
I don't remember that number yet.
well, what's the net loss of trees?
141. It's about 66.
Okay, so we're going to lose 66 trees. And I want to tell a story. I've lived in my house since 1999. Several years ago, 9 Cobblestone removed all the trees in their backyard to put in a swimming pool, okay? Which increased the water flow down into the people on Laura Lane. And I had to put an $11,000 drain into my front yard to drain all the water that was coming down into my front lot after they ripped down all the trees in their backyard. If we lose another 66 trees up the hill, that's more water that's going to go flowing down to the, the people at the bottom on Laura Lane and the end of Cobblestone and Eagle's Nest.
Yep.
Any
So,
comments on that?
Sure. So unfortunately, when you have established houses, some towns do, some don't have tree replacement requirements ahead of time. And if that can happen, and it's not mitigated, the stormwater increase. That's been accounted for here. The disturbance of area, the disturbance of trees, that all went into our calculation for the detention basin. So we've incorporated that to make sure we're not having that impact on Three Gables.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Gordon Kyle, 7 Cobblestone Lane.
You swear to God or affirm testimony about to give us the truth, the whole truth? Do you swear to God or affirm that the testimony about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Simple question. On the plan there with the darker shade of green, so for example, below the existing house on that property, I'm directly behind that.
Yep.
The darker shade of green, you guys are leaving all the trees in all the dark shaded areas.
That's correct.
That's correct. Now, when someone buys one of those homes, are they allowed to remove the trees in the dark shaded area, or does that also have some kind of a rule where it has to remain?
There's no specific rule. It's not a conservation easement. It would be, as your property and your neighbor's property, it would be up to them. But with our initial plan that's going to be approved, we'll commit to keeping the trees where we show and grading where we show on this plan.
Yeah, that I understand. But just to be clear, and I'm just want to clarify, similar to the point that was just made, a private home owner could possibly remove a lot more trees once they move in.
They could, like we say, with any lot.
There is a
tree ordinance.
there is a tree
We have a
ordinance
tree
for
ordinance
homestead
now.
lots.
Over the last few months, the township committee
Residential.
passed a tree ordinance
There you go.
that stipulates what can be removed and what remediation has to be done by homeowners, because we do not allow, as your neighbor had done,
Clear cutting
anymore.
Okay, so.
And that's the same for all, just so we're clear,
Right.
that's the same for all
That's any
residents.
Sure, I get it. And is
All
that on the
homestead
website? How do we learn more about how that rule?
Yes, the tree
adopted
ordinance is on the website now.
And so if I, for example, decided I wanted to take down 10 trees in my backyard and I call a tree guy,
Yeah.
does he have to get some kind of a special permit?
Your landscape tree, your arborist, right?
Yeah.
Certified arborist would file the tree removal replacement paperwork forms with the engineering department.
Got it.
And then that would be corroborated as to which are being removed with no replacement for diseased and otherwise obligations. And then those of the appropriate caliper, each caliper to be removed has a replacement requirement.
Got it. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, we've run into my 9 o'clock limit, and I hate to cut off comment here, so since we're close. I am going to ask you to keep your comments to 3 minutes or less, please, so we can get through and get this done, because the rest of the other people here have been waiting all night. They thought they were going to be first, so thank you.
Sure. Thank you so much. My name is Michael Heitman. I'm at 27 Eagle Nest Road.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to God or affirm testimony about to give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll be brief. I guess my one concern that I do want to voice is really around basic due process. We only received our notice about 5 days ago after a few failed delivery attempts for the letter. I know, especially given the timing of vacations, end of year, as a father of young children out of school, the timing was especially difficult. Question I do have, though, specifically being the property at the end of the new proposed street, is specifically around traffic safety, the increase of traffic not only during construction. What does that mean? You know, we have young kids, a lot of walkers in the neighborhood. What is that going to look like? What does mitigation look like? And then also after construction, it's going to permanently increase traffic just for these houses. You'll have delivery vehicles, service vehicles, all that. So really, what kind of study or impact was done to understand the impact to the neighborhood here?
So as far as construction goes, the township engineer, there's a bond posted to make sure the project is constructed under the township criteria for construction materials and installation. And they inspect what's going on. There'll be the soil conservation district as well, making sure, you know, trucks aren't tracking material out onto the street and runoff or the stockpiles in inappropriate places. So that'll be handled. As far as a traffic study, there was not a separate traffic study. As this is basically a 12-lot subdivision, but as you heard, just 9 new residential lots, and that'll be fronting. Yeah, that'll be coming, and also just 9 coming out onto Eagles Nest. It's a limited amount of new traffic in the neighborhood. Obviously, this whole area has been developed. This was kind of the hole in the donut of the RA 35 district that's around here that's fully developed. So there will be a commensurate increase in traffic as all the other subdivisions and cul-de-sacs are in the neighborhood. But we think the driveway circulation works well for the project.
And I do have a number of questions, but I will give the time to my fellow neighbors. Again, I'd like to see this hearing continued.
Hi, good evening. It's Laura Cody Gary at 21 Eagle Nest Road.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to God or affirm testimony about to give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please proceed.
This is about the wildlife. We only address the bats. In addition, there's an owl, and I think all of the neighbors who walk at night or any time of the day know there's foxes. And if you walk in the afternoon, there's eagles. So I'm sure they're flying. I'm not sure where they're nesting, especially the owl, which I hear every morning when I'm walking my dog at 6 a.m. I think he's definitely nesting in that area. Has that been addressed in the wildlife report?
We have not.
I'm asking, you had the wildlife
It wasn't
thing.
brought up in
It
the
wasn't
report.
brought up. I think that's very important for us to figure out.
So obviously, besides myself, the Township Environmental Commission took a good look at that. I mean, from our research we did, that, you know, there wasn't documented nesting. Foxes, 100%. There's the good news on a lot of these is that they've come back in numbers. Foxes have always been around this area, and I can see that. Depending what type of owl, possibly. Eagles are back as well. They've been kind of delisted from the state as from endangered. So there are more of them. I have, you know, you're in the neighborhood, you're there a lot more than I am, but I would have suspected that one of us walking the property would have seen an eagle's nest due to their size on this property. So that we have not seen. But again, we are working to limit the woodlands removal and to maintain habitat where we can with the project.
Thank you.
So if you were to come across an eagle's nest or an owl's nest in the construction, how would you proceed?
Yeah, that's a good question. So it would, again, depend. There are some owls. The eagles are not threatened, but during nesting period, there are certain questions. I mean, if your engineer brought it up or your environmental commission, we would definitely work with your staff to, keep clear of areas as required by state or town requirements. I mean, we're looking to work this project works well if it works into the natural setting here. That's the developer's vision for the property, why we spent the time here. We're not looking to clear cut. It wouldn't be good for the neighbors. It wouldn't be good for this development.
Yes.
Christine
Can we
Mazzaros.
cut this down? Nobody's been abusing this, but I want to make it 2 minutes now because we are.
So I guess, I'm 16 Three Gables Road.
Right.
This is a very large impact to this neighborhood. We met with Mrs. Okay, yes.
So it has the way to testimony.
Yeah.
I don't know that if we ever got your full name though.
Christine Mazzaros.
Okay, thank you. Do you swear to God or affirm testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Okay, about the time limit, this is a very large change to our neighborhood. We're taxpayers. I spent time with Mrs. Santiago last week. We went through all the plans, have a list of questions. Are we saying now we cannot ask our questions if they're outside of 2 minutes?
No.
I mean, I think all of us have questions we want answered before this is approved. And I think that's fair to us this is going to be a huge impact.
Should we stop?
I'm sorry? The sidebar?
Yeah.
MESZAROS.
Okay, you certainly feel free to comment, and if you have some specific questions, but please keep them brief. They have not been addressed. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
We live at 16 Three Gables. The brother of our neighbor came up and asked some questions earlier about runoff and the storm water facility. So I have some technical questions there because it's direct. We're across from it as well. You said tonight you're going to move the spillway west. We are west. Our driveway is extremely steep. Can we see on the plans where you are moving the spillway to?
So,
We are lot 37?
Yes, so I reviewed the plan and I was out there again before the meeting tonight to eye that up so I could see. So there's a location that is not directly in front of your neighbor's lot, but is also to the plan right or east of your driveway where that spillway would go.
So it's to the right of our driveway?
As you're facing from Three Gables?
Yes.
Yes, it would be to the right of your drive, because your
How
drive.
about how many feet are we talking?
I would say, we'll have to find a good placement there. Your property line is off the driveway by, let's say, 4 feet or so.
Correct.
So it would be another 4 or 5 feet to the right of that.
There were, one of the representatives brought up a number of findings in the Environmental Commission report. I can go through them. Unable to determine if bioretention basin is sufficient. The information was not provided by the applicant on impervious cover. Storm drain inlets, unclear to the Environmental Commission if they comply with the township standards. How do we, as the resident, understand in writing that those concerns have been met by the developer?
So-
Who is our advocate to make sure that, our basements aren't flooded when there's another Sandy?
So the acceptance of all the municipally dedicated improvements, so the roadway, any drainage infrastructure will be through engineering. Will be
And
through
is
our
that something that's
inspections.
public? Is that made public?
The records of our inspections and acceptance, yes.
Okay. And how will we be notified that that's been,
So that.
that we can see that it's been
any-
rectified and addressed?
But the inlets proposed in the project have to meet the required municipal standards, which is also a DEP standard on the types of grates, heads, consistent with the MS4 permit. respectfully to the Environmental Commission, I don't think the information may not have been abundantly clear to them, but I don't have concerns with the technical content of the design that there's any outdated infrastructure being proposed.
Okay, it's just so the committee knows, when we get a report that's 30 pages long with a number of concerns and then no, you know, okay.
And it's a planning board, just to not confuse.
Your mic's off.
It's a planning board. The township committee is a completely different entity, has different obligations, as you heard earlier. This is a quasi judicial board hearing the application. But all the compliance, if there's an approval, there are an abundance of conditions. I memorialize them. You'll see that resolution. Be a heck of a lot longer than the environmental report, I can assure you.
We'll read it. We'll read it.
And you'll get it.
Yep.
It's public and it's adopted. They'll be voting on it, as you saw tonight earlier. Maybe I always hope they like it and that it accurately memorializes. So far, I'm doing all right. All those conditions will have one or more individuals in the municipality, working for the municipality, be they consultants or employees, and some of them aren't even here, ensuring, as well as state and county representatives, ensuring that all the items of conditions are satisfactorily complied with, demonstrated, et cetera. And that is all a public record. Now, people don't call up they don't call everybody in town every time, hey, we checked off this box, 5 minutes later, hey, guys, we checked off this box, let's call everybody down. But it's all public records. And that process ultimately, before anything can happen, has to be fully satisfied, and the applicant has to be complete with their compliance obligations.
Okay.
So one of those mechanisms being, as the township accepts the roadway dedication, that acceptance is specifically backed by the inspections during construction, compaction, paving, installation of utilities, and there's a record in engineering that the right cross sections were applied and everything was designed in accordance with our standards.
Including the basin?
Yes.
The basin. I'll just real quick move on with one other point. How long will the project take? Estimated?
I'm sorry for the interruption. We're checking with there's another application, and I may have to talk to the attorneys for that application, but not right now.
My last point.
2 to 3 years.
2 to 3 years. I have young kids. Our neighborhood is, they walk to the bus, they walk home from the bus, they ride bikes, they're Squirrel Run, Three Gables. This is a nice community. Will there be construction vehicles staged on the street? Will there be construction workers parking on the street, having lunch on the street? Will they be parked at a separate location? 3 years is a long time to live like this.
So the good news with this site, as I stated, there are several existing driveways into the property, and there are many areas that have been cleared that are dry as parking area. So there should be no need for construction vehicles on the street. Understand your concern. Also, that time frame, the first thing that's done, the roadway and the stormwater basin, and is required by the township and municipalities, the basin needs to go in first. So when everything else is going, that's stormwater. So it'll be stormwater with the roadway following behind that. That won't take that period of time. That entails, how long it's going to take to sell the houses here. So that'll continue. But the road construction won't be that long.
And my last question, I apologize if it's online, but what are the hours the days of the week and the hours that you're allowed to work in the neighborhood?
That's for the construction, because we have an ordinance for that.
Construction.
Yeah.
I apologize. I didn't find it online. I don't know.
But I meant, just to clarify, that's for construction.
Yeah.
Yeah. When will you be working?
Yeah, so that's within, I don't have that handy either. That's once it goes, that's always, we need to, and we will follow the township hours for daytime and construction.
Yeah, so it's gonna be part of, it'll be stipulated in the developer's agreement.
We're looking at it. Oftentimes, and we'll double check this, oftentimes they're not Sundays, right?
Correct.
And they're weekday hours, and they're not.
Yeah, I guess
not evenings and the like.
Yeah, just because it's going to go on for such a long time.
Yep,
yeah, I understand.
And they hear
okay,
it,
there might be an ordinance.
But we'll get that information. The exact hours. Oh, wait,
7 to
7 to
6.
Monday
We'll
through.
we'll just keep it rolling. Ryan Taylor.
Monday through Saturday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., I'm being told. Is that correct?
Monday through Saturday?
If you'll recall what I said about, it's like we're in a court of law, notwithstanding that I tend to joke around a little bit, and that's why I'm not a judge, one of many reasons. We should be civil and keep that decorum as best we can.
That is
To be good, to be good, to be good, one person at a time, to be good examples, the way we would want perhaps others to be, including our children. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Everyone may not agree. We understand that.
So the citation in our code is 57-26.2. But yes, it is for 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday, no construction on Sundays except emergency repairs as authorized by the township.
Hi.
Yeah,
Good.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Ryan Taylor. I'm at 26 Laura Lane.
You swear, please raise your right hand. Do you swear to God or affirm testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir. So I'm 26 Laura Lane. I'm basically downhill from the basin and on the other side of the street. And I guess my biggest question is just in the event of an overflow of the basin, which you did a very good job explaining the different levels of overflow potential. The drainage pipe where that flows down from the street basically runs right next to my property and then empties out in the back of my property.
Okay.
I can tell you that, especially in the last couple of years, it is inadequate to handle the current flow of water. It is already overflowing. So I guess specific to your project, where does that overflow empty into? And then that drainage pipe itself, where does that connect into the rest of the neighborhood? And I have a video too of like watching this water just pour out of an 8-foot deep, grate in my backyard. So it's a concern. It's not a small pit, so to speak.
Understood. And again, that goes back to part of the reason I said that the requirements from the township and started by the state is for a further reduction in flows, noting that many 40-year-old neighborhoods didn't have much stormwater, maybe for a 25-year storm, not a 100-year plus a spillway storm. So we've, met all the stormwater criteria for this basin. To answer specifically, it'll come to an outlet structure, which will be piped into Three Gables. And then that piping goes down to the north and winds up.
Which is on Laura Lane?
Yeah. So as the spillway in question is shown on the plan in this gray area I'm showing. This is the one we said we were going to move to the west in between the two neighbors' houses and driveway. So that's if there was an extraordinary event over the top, that's where it would go, but still would go to a road and go to the inlets in the road. Do understand that some old inlets are undersized, but we've already restricted our flow to meet the requirements. And as Mr. Booth said, they have to do the requirement. They're reviewed by the state and also the county reviews. So as an engineer, I'm getting kind of double reviewed. And I don't mind because I want to make sure that I don't hear from neighbors years down the road.
So I guess I just ask, if it's already overflowing right now and it is going to attach into the one that comes to my house, what recourse do we have? Is there an investigation to determine whether or not the pipe size is sufficient to handle the current water flow and the additional water flow from this new development? And I don't know if I'm addressing, you guys or them, but.
I believe under normal circumstances, the testimony, the detention space is that there would be less runoff than there is currently. The only time the spillway would be activated would be in very unusual, more than 100-year storm, right?
Yes, that's correct.
How often are the 100-year storm water levels reevaluated?
The question should be directed to the witness.
Thank you.
But to the extent the board professionals can assist, as I hope you've seen, we try our best.
Thank you.
I'm not going to answer any engineering questions. I didn't go to law school for that.
Yeah.
But, so I don't know if you're done.
Well, yeah, if Joe, you want.
So the spillway, as our chairman had mentioned, is an emergency overflow for exceeding the design standards thresholds. So it's designed to accommodate a greater than 100-year flow event. So when we're all in a flooded condition and we're all receiving the same unfortunate impacts, that relief is a lesser of two evils to relieve the immediate emergent need of that basin failing and creating a more catastrophic issue. The direct connection of the outfall to our municipal system is designed based on an existing condition and a peak flow for each of the design storms, 2, 10, 100. And then the method of compliance that the applicant is proposing is a peak flow reduction. So there are reductions on each of the design storms to a significant reduction of that peak flow that occurs. The volume is attenuated through, the volume is not lost, but the point at which the greatest peak flow hits the system is modified in the timing of the storm, and it is significantly decreased. So when we look at the hydrograph, like the design of the parabola, that peak flow occurs, and where that peak flow occurs is diminished down to a significantly lesser number. So our sewers are receiving less of a gut punch, so to speak.
Sure.
And so what we then look at is that downstream analysis of where we're connecting to and that point being related to the existing condition. So then we have level of confidence that that reduction is providing that factor of safety.
Thank you for that explanation. That was really helpful. My last question just related to this is how often are these, scales, 25, 50, 100-year storm, are they evaluated? As in, like, is that a 30-year-old standard?
This is, in the last 5 years, this state has evaluated the stormwater design rules 3 times, has adopted a 2021 adjustment, a 2023 adjustment that includes considerations for future year storms, and a now pending fall 2025 adjustment that ran in the register earlier this month and is open for public comment before it gets adopted, likely before the end of the year. So there is in our current governor's tenure, then at least 2 of those 3, specifically looking at some considerations for the increase in rainfall frequency and how that should be managed in our state.
Great. Thank you so much.
Steve.
Yes, I'm sorry.
You
Oh,
How you doing?
I can do it without a mic. Can everybody hear me all right?
Yes, sir.
If you swear to God or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, I do.
Please proceed.
Greg Carafello, 26 Eagle Nest Road. This is more comments to you guys. I have a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old. And the 1-year-old's bedroom is on the corner of the proposed development, and the one existing driveway that they want to use is across the street. So that means that for the next 3 years, there's going to be heavy machinery going in and out from across my driveway. That also means that my kids riding their bikes, running around, have to deal with that, tripping on rebar. It's a big concern. I think it's really something to be thought about, just given the age of kids in the community. That's all I got for you. Kept under the 2 minutes.
Yes, thank you.
Just
hold us
not a
in.
break.
Sure.
1 second.
Yeah, we're going to take a quick 2-minute break so that we can, to deal with the other application, and then we can finish this up a little more reasonably. We're not cutting, we
No, we're
will
not.
not cutting the comments on this one short. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Thank you.
There's something.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
Took a lot of mental effort not to.
It was really.
I thought it was just my hearing.
No, we're all hearing it.
Yeah. Good point. We are ready to resume. Do we need to call a roll after a break?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
We're all here,
7, 8,
just to make
9.
sure.
Everybody's here.
Okay, we're all here.
For the record, everybody's here.
Okay.
And I think, Mr. Chairman, we're going to be taking a 2-minute break to put something on the record from the other
From the other
application.
application, we'll get
If I'm
back.
not mistaken, I think they're going to be carrying the matter so that we can continue to proceed with
this one.
this matter. But yeah, you don't have to call the whole matter. Just give the docket number, Sonia,
Okay.
or whatever.
This is DB 08-25, Mark and Lynn Piccolo, minor subdivision variance, block 3501, lot 6, 35 Schoolhouse Lane.
Right, that's good,
RA
Sonia, thank you.
130 zone.
The council, you wish to address the board?
Thank you, Mr. Warner. My name is Nancy Lottenville. I'm with the firm of Prime Tuvell and Maselli, representing the applicant, Mark and Lynn Piccolo. The property is at block 3501, lot 6 on Schoolhouse Lane, 35 Schoolhouse Lane. We're here on a minor subdivision with some variances. There has been some discussion in the last few days from my colleague here, Mr. Simon, who's representing certain objectors. One with regard to a completeness issue, which we are discussing. And secondly, today, very late in the afternoon, it became clear that there is a very interesting and unusual discrepancy between the tax map and the title work of many of the properties on this line. And that has to do with the center line of the street and whether the right-of-way is 50 feet or 66 feet. That is unresolved. It was impossible to resolve it at 4 o'clock this afternoon. And so we're requesting that the matter be carried so that we can look into it further.
Sonia, what's our next available date?
Our next available date is September 15th.
Okay, does September 15th work, or at least to carry it for scheduling purposes? And if it doesn't work, you could carry it again?
For scheduling purposes, it will work to carry the notice. In the event that alterations have to be made to the plan, we would likely need more time, given.
Certainly that could be addressed, but for
And we're
purposes of
wondering if
carrying
this-
without further notice,
Yes.
it was September 15th at 7 PM in the same municipal building is acceptable to the applicant's council?
We were wondering if a special meeting would be available at any point in time shortly after the 15th.
Well, do you want to? If it would be after the 15th, then we could carry it to the 15th, and between now and the 15th,
Determine
a
a-
determination could be made if a special meeting could be done at a different time. So,
That would be appreciated.
okay. And, yeah, and Mr. Simon, you wanted to put an appearance on the record briefly?
Sure. Members of the board professionals, good evening. Good to be back here. Rob Simon from Herald Law here on behalf of Mark and Jamie Milano, 40 Schoolhouse Lane. So speaking to council, concur in terms of the carrying of this hearing. I just wanted to make it clear for the record, that we have put forth certain positions that we've articulated in writing to the board on not one but two occasions already, given our recent retention on this matter. But just wanted to also make clear for the members of the public that should the applicant need to revise their plans pursuant to a review of the title work, et cetera, which I do believe there's some issues associated therewith, that they will have to renotice because then all the calculations will change. And I just want to make that clear for the public and for the board.
Understood, that's correct.
But certainly, I assume no objection, Mr. Simon, to carrying the matter to September 15th without further notice, at least for the time being, without further notice, 7 PM in the municipal building.
Yes, understanding that that's going to be for scheduling purposes with the possibility of maybe having a special meeting thereafter.
Is that the understanding of applicant?
I think we will know before the 15th whether the notice has to be adjusted or not.
Right, but okay, but
So
are you not intending to go forward with the hearing on September 15th?
If possible, yes. we
Okay,
would.
all right, so you may proceed on the 15th, with that determination will be made. So we're, with the chair's permission, we're carrying this matter without further notice to September 15th, 7 PM in the municipal building, pursuant to the request of the applicant, if the board so desires, with the no objection from objectors' counsel.
Well, with the one caveat that Should it be determined, which we believe to be the case, that notice will have to be redone and plans will have to be revised, if we can have the courtesy of being informed of that, I would say by, let's say, September 2nd or 3rd, just so, because I have other matters on my calendar for September 15th currently.
It all depends on the title search.
Well, why don't, we're not going to argue.
Make our best.
We're not going to argue this now. I think we're, with the chair's permission, we're carrying this matter to September 15th, 7 PM, municipal building. And if there's going to be further notice, we'll find out. If there's going to be arguments about notice on September 15th, we'll find out.
Right.
Okay.
And finally, I'm very happy that I was able to supply you with a court reporter this evening. I got to use her.
Yes.
Thank you for that.
you.
I think the
Yes,
township
and we will,
take care of that.
certainly willing to have it carried. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
So I think we're hammering back in, Mr.
Okay.
Chairman, to the prior application. You want to,
Ready when you are.
Sonia, the prior application is Murray Contracting, 711 Three Gables Road and 20 Squirrel Run with the various block and lot numbers, and we're back in session.
Thank you for your patience before we get people here for both applications. We appreciate it. It's not always easy, and appreciate the fact that you put up with all of this, and we'll continue. And please, yes.
Michael De Palma, 25 Three Gables Road.
Do you swear to God or affirm testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please proceed.
So 25 Three Gables Road is also the home known as Lot 44, which is at the bottom, the southernmost point of the plan that you guys are looking at right now. It's the house regarding with the easements that we talked about. The house was built sometime before 1905. We're not exactly sure because it predates all of these developments, hence the easements. The one easement in question, in fact, has been in place since 1952. There's been a lot of discussion about trees, and I appreciate that. I appreciate the number of trees being planted, the number of trees being removed. What is, however, more important to me is where those trees happen to be. So if you look at our home, and you'll see that there are two new homes, one 50 feet from our property line, and one 30 feet from our property line. So privacy, which is something we've enjoyed for the last 10 years of home ownership in this particular home, is of paramount importance. It's important to us that we maintain some semblance of that. So we'd be interested to understand how our privacy will be affected. Obviously, there's no answer to this right now. It's just something I just wanted to put on the record. The second is a bit more logistical, and that is during the 2-3 years of construction, because we have such an old home and because the home predates the development by, in some cases, 50 years easily, we have a slightly different set of circumstances. Our electrical is not the same as the rest of the neighborhood. Our gas, our water will all be affected by this construction. So our concern then as homeowners is how can we get comfortable with the idea that we will not be disrupted, that our electric, which is now, by the way, above ground, whereas the neighborhood on Three Gables is below ground. So how do we make sure that our electric, our gas, and our water are not affected, or if they are affected, how are we going to work that out? I don't expect any answers to these questions right now. I just wanted to go ahead and put those on the record.
But if you're willing to hear answers from the applicant's engineer,
Of course.
he might have some.
So for your lot, an easement was placed off of our proposed subdivision road. So in the event that it works and it's amenable to everybody to have, you have access for gas, water, sanitary through that easement, even electric. That's been placed on the plan, and there's an easement on lot 4502 to provide that. Also, I believe discussions with the developer, there would be stipulation as to not to cut off any of your utilities to your house and leave you landlocked or out of luck there.
Well, that would be expected, yes.
While this is going on, that's to be expected, and that can be stipulated.
Okay.
Some of those, I'd say, some of those have prescribed easements. The driveway clearly does.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those are not as clear with some of the overhead wires. It appears to have, but in the title. But that all being said, your utilities would not be cut off.
Yeah, all right, just to be clear, we just want to make sure that we remain whole,
Yeah.
right? I don't want to be in a position where we have to spend $50,000 to fix our utilities, which we're quite frankly fine, right?
Yeah, I mean, I can't say to all the fixing issue. I think you've talked to Mr. Bracco on that. You can continue that, so.
Very good.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good evening. Sally Muscarella, 11 Eagle Nest Road.
Do you swear to God or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. I've been at 11 Eagle Nest Road since 1989, and I truly cherish our neighborhood. I know you are all in a hard position. Morris County continues to develop, and I just hope we do it very carefully because it's feeling like we're getting overdeveloped. So that's a general comment. And let me go into some specific questions. Is Murray Contracting going to be the general contractor, and are you actually going to build the houses? Is that not
Just
working?
Step out, but in my dealing with him, yeah, the overall, their intent at this time is to build the houses, but I don't know that they will, there'll be any stipulation that they have to build the houses, but that's their intent.
So the plan is to build them like on spec and then sell them?
Yes.
Okay, and then presumably the normal procedures for approving home plans then kick in on the individual?
Correct.
Okay. Another question. I did read the Municipal Utilities Authority report. I couldn't quite tell for sure. I know they're tapping into the main water main off of Eagle Nest for the new road. And I just want to make sure we're not going to lose water pressure because we already don't have great water pressure on Eagle Nest Road. So I couldn't quite tell from that report. So that was a specific question that I had.
Sure. So they have not commented on the pressure. So possibly you might be at the higher end. That is kind of the high end of their service network there. Our lots will be lower there. It's off of their whole network. They do state how they have from the state that it's in the sewer service area, and they have I forget what the wording is, but their overall permit from the state. So they're basically saying they have capacity and pressure to service this development.
Okay, that sounds a little uncertain, but.
No, that's.
Okay.
By sending us a letter without comment, without saying otherwise and saying that they definitely would need to comment if they did not have capacity or pressure.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
The other point that I'd like to make is I know the Environmental Commission did a great report, and it's my hope that the planning board or the applicant or both will go through each of the recommendations in that report and follow through. For example, there's specimen trees, which we know are very large trees and important trees that are very close to the road that's being proposed. So, you can't get too close in a construction project or you're going to lose that tree, maybe not this year, but in a few years. So there was a lot of really good information in that Environmental Commission report. And I hope we take the time to follow up on all of the recommendations in that report.
And we do plan to, and again, for the record, when we resubmitted after we got the TCC meeting, we did hit the items in all the staff reports. And again, with some discussion about the tree sampling and things like that. But the technical items, we definitely, picked some different species and added trees. So we did take those to heart.
So in my conversation with the Environmental Commission, I don't believe that it has been, the points in that report have been adequately addressed. And I know there was a lot of good discussion tonight, and I really appreciate the suggestions that were made by George and others to do site-specific tree plans, et cetera. That will help, but there's other recommendations in there that I think deserve some attention. The only other comment that I would make is, I know when someone else talked about, how hard it is to respond on short notice when a major development like this comes through for consideration. I guess my house isn't close enough. I wasn't notified. But even those that were notified with such a short time frame. It's very hard to respond, especially if this isn't your line of work. So thank you.
Good evening. David Swanson at 3 Cobblestone Lane.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to God or affirm testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please proceed.
I didn't understand from the discussion, but are we getting a new count of the amount of trees that are estimated to come down before any decision is made, or how is that going to work, this lot by lot count?
Instead of doing, the proposal is, and Mr. Warner was taking notes, and we talked about what the condition is. Instead of doing a count across the whole 12 acres now, once we have lots laid out, we're going to go on a lot by lot basis to do a tree plan for that individual lot, so we have a tree count on that lot. So rather than going through the expense of just a mathematical exercise sort of what's out there now and what we might be taking down, but without plot plans yet for each lot. Wait till we have lots, and then go lot by lot and count them as we develop the specific house plan for that lot. We're going to consult with the township engineer. I think he's going to involve the environmental commission to talk about not only what we're counting, but also, is there a specimen tree, is there a group of trees, whatever it may be, we lay out a driveway or a house to see if we can save things.
So is there not a situation where the board approves the plan and then you go back and do the count and it's a different number? It's like you're saying it's 66 net now, but when you do the recount, all of a sudden it's in the hundreds.
In which case, we'd have different obligations to the town, either in terms of replacing trees or in terms of that number that we paid for.
So what are the
If I can just, then, but please keep asking. But that's taking, if there's an approval, it's based on the initial count, if you will, but they've agreed to the lot by lot, and that would be through compliance through our engineer and in consultation with the commission. Just for the record, though, the Environmental Commission actually recommended this approach as one of the alternative recommendations. I don't know if that was put on the records, just for clarity, on page 4, the Environmental Commission under tree removal said, alternatively, the Environmental Commission recommends the board consider requiring the applicants to submit a tree removal plan for each individual lot, which will result from the proposed subdivision according to and then they cite the township ordinance. So this was one of the recommendations of the Environmental Commission to handle it in lieu of doing a complete tree, I guess, count for the entire site and then going from there. And it's certainly well within the purview and jurisdiction of the planning board to go in that, forward in that direction, just for clarification. But please keep asking questions if you have them.
So I just want to understand. So like if it's said that it's 66 net loss and it ends up being 150, and what happens in that case? And also, who's going to monitor it? Like, who's going to be out there counting the trees as they come down?
There should be a survey performed by the applicant in compliance review for the plot plan to each individual lot. So we'll have a representative number for each lot that accumulates to what right now is a loss of 141, right? With a 66 tree deficit on the replacement. That's site-wide. Taking the alternative approach, the numbers are going to group out differently, and more specifically to the proposed disturbance of each lot to deliver the home as shown here is essentially land use concept. Right, there's still refinement of each lot in a plot plan that comes to our office for each lot to be developed. So I will be participating, the engineering office will be participating in reviewing that survey and determining what that number is on each lot. And then for the deficit for each lot, as those lots are being developed and made whole, if the deficit can't be met on the site, it would be banked into contribution to our tree fund.
So I think I understand. So you'll plot it out.
Yeah.
Count the trees, then recount when it's all said and done and see what the loss is.
Right, and the intent of this exercise is to do it from, instead of a site-wide count, look at it lot by lot, to be a little more individual to each lot's loss and gain, and overall globally be in the same neighborhood as the 141 with the 66 deficit. So it's our intent for my office and the applicant's intent to shoot for that as the benchmark, and the plus or minus will be a deviation from that 66. It's not intended to be as significant as 3 times that loss.
So if it is above the 66, what is the remuneration? How does that work?
It's based on the caliper of the trees being removed, and then the offset of the total count of deficit trees then goes into a calculation of contribution to the municipal fund for replenishment.
Do you have a sense of like what that is per tree? Like, does it work that way?
The cost per tree, it comes down to total calipers and accumulation. So each tree has a net replacement requirement. So a 24-inch tree, an 18-inch tree caliper are all going to be a different requirement.
The bigger the tree, the more money.
The more money.
Right.
Right, but are we talking like $50 a tree, or is it like $1,000 a tree? I'm just trying to
It's set by
understand the
our
scope.
ordinance.
Yeah, then check the ordinance.
Yeah, and so it'll be part of the developer's agreement with the developer, if there's an approval, that they'll have to satisfy that section of our code.
The count now is based on the township's tree ordinance.
Right.
But it's a kind of an assumed or a model based on their sampling. But it's still based on the ordinance. This lot by lot will just kind of confirm up or down whether that original estimate was correct, but it will still be within following the guidelines or the requirements in the township ordinance.
So if anything, it will be more specific into the benefit of the municipality, either in contributions or trees specifically gained on the property.
Okay.
For the benefit of the neighbors too.
And to the benefit of the neighbors, it'll be to the neighbors and then the township as a whole. But doing this analysis at a lot by lot level will provide greater compliance with the opportunity to replace trees, and then more trees identified in deficit that would be retained through enumeration.
Okay.
It also allows a little closer monitoring of what might be done to take what are to somewhat generic house locations and driveway locations, what might be done with a tweak here or there to save a specimen.
Right.
So the lot by lot analysis gives us that opportunity to look at the specimen trees where we have higher caliper trees that are very healthy and can be adjusted with the driveway relocating, minor site plan change to preserve the tree in the character.
And it's you and your office that does that?
Yes, my office will be overseeing.
Okay. Thank you.
Your name, Joe?
Jeffrey Keys. I'm at 13 Gables Road, lot 46.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to God or affirm testimony you're about to give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Please proceed.
All right, everybody took all my good questions, so I'll try to do something, hit on something that hasn't been hit on before. Trees. So.
Where'd you come up with that?
As I understand it, so the dark green areas are the heavily wooded areas, and are they marked in the plan as areas of non-disturbance?
Yes, they are. There's a limited disturbance line as well in the field. There'll be a silt fence, which is set as a construction limit.
Okay. All right. So that helps with the trees. I know there was a question about timeline, and I know the answer was 2 to 3 years. That's really vague. Is there something more specific that we can get as to the timeline so that we as residents can have some expectation of how long this is going to impact us?
I don't think there is, Mr. Keys, because you have lots of approvals, you have lots of follow-up and compliance, and then you have the market. Interest rates, et cetera, et cetera. 12 lots over 2 years might be really good. We don't want to extend it because we have costs. We don't want to give you some number that doesn't make sense. Yeah, with the open and one.
Wait, you're not sworn in. Oh, no, you were sworn in.
You were sworn in.
I never swear.
Well, are these, like, as far as, is this like a planned, how can I say this? Are these built to suit? Like, when we talk about the timeline, I mean, are you going to sell the lots first, or are these going to be model homes? What's the
We
process?
probably will have,
I'm sorry, just identify for the record.
yes, Nick Bracco, Director of Development for Murray Contract. BRACO. Good. All right. So we have models that we have built in other locations in this market. In this market, I mean, this market, and this very important piece of property. And we expect to sell these houses for quite a bit of money. So I can't tell, if one of these houses may take a year to build. Now, if we have several contracts out at the same time, we can build multiple simultaneously, great, all the better. We don't want to turn a 3-year project into a 5 or 6 year project. Mr. Brady's right, it's market driven. In 2007, man, market was on fire, remember? And then what happened? 2008. So I pray to God we'll never have that situation again. But that's ultimately a worst case scenario. On a normal, the market right now is strong. There's plenty of demand for high-end product like this will be. These houses will have a 2 in front of it. With a lot of zeros. So we expect these to move fairly quickly because that market right now is very strong. Now, also Mr. Brady is correct in that an approval used to be the last thing you needed and you could start construction. That's the first thing. Now we have a whole myriad of permits to get, compliance reviews, things that take months and months and months. You can't go from approval if we get one to immediate construction. It's going to be sometime in the next year before we can cut the first tree. Now, I just want to talk about trees just for a moment. Sit here. Keep my mouth shut.
Everybody's favorite
But I'm not going to. I'm a landscape architect, New Jersey licensed tree expert. I've spent a lot of time on this site because it is unique. The trees here are just wonderful. There is no reason it would be working cross purposes to remove more trees than what's necessary to build the project. I want to do it. There's some great pockets of this.
Yes, beautiful trees.
And we all know, I don't know how many people walked on it, had trespassing. But it is a very unique, lovely site. And the goal here is to retain that throughout the course, not only construction, but when people ultimately move in. So taking this very, very seriously. It's not a farm. We've built on plenty of those, but this one deserves very, very special consideration. Who's going to get it? Now, even though I'm a licensed tree expert, I plan on bringing in heavier hitters than myself to go through this when we're ready to start. Because there's a lot of little variations within removing trees, saving trees, distance from a trunk of a tree to when the roots that can be disturbed. So there's important scientific things that we want to address. Nick, on this project, is it these spec houses, custom houses? What exactly is Murray thinking?
We certainly will start out with the models that we have and that we know sell. However, because of the market we're in, people are going to want modification. Now, we can't exceed what we have generally on this plan as far as the footprint. What if somebody wants an addition or a 3-car garage? Things like that that can be accommodated within the footprint and within the setbacks that we agree to provide, then we'll take advantage of that. You can't expect somebody at that rarefied price to just accept what we have, and that's what we have. Did I answer anything that you just asked?
No, that was very helpful. That was very helpful. I have one question on the TCC and one question about Murray, since you are, well, now you're sitting down, but you were sitting there. You go. Can you speak a little bit about Murray contracting specific experience in development of something this size? And you've made reference to models. Where might we be able, like, I don't know, I mean, when you say these, we've done models, we'll use the models that we've done before. I don't know what those are. So how would I get information on what those models are, what your style is?
We have 2 projects we recently, one that we recently finished in Hazlet, and then one that's under construction in Middletown. In Middletown Township, probably the houses we're building there are going to be
the Middletown?
Middletown Township. I can't remember the name of that project. So you have to understand with our organization, I work on a certain aspect of it. We have other people that design build houses. But we are, first to admit, we are a fairly new company when it comes to in-field construction of homes. We have currently 8 residential projects in the pipeline, and this one is in that pipeline.
Is this, like, size-wise, how is, of the 8 projects you have, where would this one be?
3,800 to 4,000 square feet.
Okay. All right.
Generally 2-car garages, sometimes 3. We have the ability to expand that. And we got certain, sunroom, something like that onto home.
Okay, and then my last question is just, and I don't know if this is something that the planning board does or whatever, but like, are you bonded? Like, what assurances are there that Murray Contracting, once, let's say this gets approved and they start the project, that they're capitalized enough to complete the project so we're not left with, half-built lots?
Fly-by-night space,
Maybe Mr. Brady wants to address that first. And then,
Well, with regard to the public improvements, they're bonded under the municipal land use law. So the road, detention basin, those types of public improvements. The rest, there's no bonding of private house development. But Murray Contract is not, not a fly-by-night operation in any sense of the word. I don't know quite how to assure you of that, other than to say that.
No, I understand. And is that even within the scope of what the planning board
No,
looks at?
that's an excellent question. If I may answer it, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, please do.
It's not. Actually, the municipal land use law prohibits the board from, if the board gives an approval, it runs with the land. The board cannot say X has to build it and Y can't. The board cannot say A can live in it, but B can't. And that holds true essentially with any land use application. The approvals are based on the projects, and certainly occupancy, if it's a use, that's not what we're talking about here, it's a permitted use, but uses can be regulated, but users, occupants cannot be regulated. So it would be, as you might have anticipated by your question, beyond the jurisdiction of this board. Not only can they, is it beyond their jurisdiction, they are prohibited from considering it.
Okay.
And the intent here is not to get a subdivision and sell off individual lots and have mismatched houses and good builder on one lot, bad builder on another lot. Murray's, the intent here is to develop the whole.
You'll be, so even if, so, but you're going to remain over the whole project from beginning to end?
Yeah, we are primarily, we got to this point 5-6 years ago, primarily site improvement contractors. A lot of paving work, general site improvement, pipes, all that kind of stuff that you don't see too much of, except for street.
Well, thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. There was one question on the TCC. Who decides when you, however, whatever method you use for how many trees are cut, who decides how many trees you're going to put in your plan, like replacement trees versus how many trees you're going to pay into the city fund? Where is that decision made?
We make the proposal to replace the trees. And we have to follow the ordinance. Now, I suppose on some theoretical level, that sounds like it could mean we're replacing none and we're just making a payment. That is not the plan, that is not the concept, that is not what we've committed to here. We've come up with what we think is a reasonable replacement plan. We do have the deficit, I think, of 66 trees. We're hoping that as we go through lot by lot, we get that closer and not that we end up with bigger deficit, which is I think what people are concerned about, but in fact that we end up with a smaller deficit and that we save specimen trees.
Right, which is a big, as you've heard, a big concern of the residents. And also, as somebody pointed out, I apologize, I don't remember who said it, but it's not just a number, it's where those trees are. Selfishly for myself and my family in Lot 46, we enjoy a significant amount of privacy and noise barrier by the wooded areas around there. So we're very concerned about what happens there.
That's one of the reasons we want to go to the lot by lot plan, because just this counting across 12 acres is expensive. It's kind of, I'll say meaningless, that I'm not meaning to cast aspersions on the tree replacement ordinance. But when you get to each plan, each lot, and you can talk about exactly what's important here, how can we save it, and you count it, that serves everybody better. I think Mr. Voigt kind of explained that earlier. He was talking.
To the intent of a tree replacement ordinance, in our municipality as well as throughout the state, everybody had to address it in the last few years, the MS4 permit. It's most pointed for an analysis on an individual lot. Looking at subdivisions with larger lot areas or one singular development, say a commercial improvement, where you're clearing a large space to put the building in and the site improvements, it's applicable. But when you look at residential subdivisions, stepping down to this level of lot by lot analysis is not required by the code, but the intent of the code is really to be looking at singular development. So looking at it per home for each single family dwelling is the same as if another one of your neighbors bought an existing lot that was of the right size for one home and did that analysis. That's kind of the way it's drafted and intended.
Okay.
So we're looking to apply it on this site in really the closest to its intended purpose as it was drafted and codified.
Okay, it's just the way my property is oriented. What's complicated about doing it lot by lot is I think we touch 5 lots. And so, you have, I mean, it's hard, you know what I mean? You got, it has to be, I mean, if you're just doing it lot, but the property lines, I'm surrounded. And so there needs to be some continuity to that method or it's just going to look like a cabbage patch.
Right. So
that's my concern.
So we look at on the lot, what needs to come down to build the home and to do the surrounding yard improvement that would be appropriate to a single family home. And then from that count, we're looking at then replenishing on the property as appropriate to infill those buffers essentially first. So the existing wood line and the buffers to adjacent parcels, both being proposed and existing.
No, and I understand.
And then there's a deficit
You
that's,
step back though, and you
Right.
see how all of these connect together. And when there's, in this particular instance, when there's a shared property line along multiple lots, I want to know that, people are conscious of that when they're making their plan. So it works not just for the individual, new lots, but it doesn't look crazy for the single large.
correct.
Yes, yeah, and I think that they've expressed their desire to, work with people, and they have worked already, and will be taking that into account. Appreciate your questions. I'm going to take a minute here. We're past our 10 o'clock limit.
Can I excuse?
What?
No, I just wanted to excuse me. I'm done.
Oh, yes, no, yes, I'm sorry. I thought you were done. I jumped on. Pardon me. But I just wanted to say, you people okay with us continuing?
Yes.
I think we should.
Okay. Please, but we do want to be brief in our comments and questions here. Yeah, yes, we'll go to 10:30 right now. That's our plan.
Hi, I'm Kathy Horahan. I'm on the Environmental Commission. Am I allowed to make comments or ask questions?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
U.S. Constitution of the State of New Jersey. So absolutely, but I'll swear you in if you don't mind.
Okay.
If you could raise your right hand, do you swear to God or affirm testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, and of course, questions as well. The street address, though, I didn't hear it.
8 Sherman Place.
Sherman Place. Okay, and you're asking the questions as an individual resident, correct?
No.
No?
I'm representing the Environmental Commission. Is that okay?
Well, the board has the report and the recommendations, obviously, it's been addressed. But maybe it's best if you ask the questions you have and make the comments you wish to make.
You're saying it's okay, or I had just had a couple clarifications,
Sure,
maybe.
I'm not saying it's not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
That's the lawyer's way of saying it's okay.
Okay. Okay. I just wanted to clarify that you had stated that this report recommended to do the lot by lot count of the trees. And I don't want to belabor the point, but I just wanted to maybe make a little distinction that I believe the way the ordinance reads is that it's during the review process the planning board shall be authorized to require a tree removal plan for each individual lot, which will result from the proposed subdivision. So it sounds like instead of during the review process, this would actually happen during construction. Is that kind of the understanding?
So there's this land use process of the board's approval for the subdivision, and then there is a secondary process of technical review for each individual plot plan.
Okay.
So what we were discussing is based on the representative sampling they did and brought to us, the accuracy is not as great as can be provided, and they're willing to work with us on. So if approved and through the initial compliance, each lot will submit an individual plan as if it was just a one-off single-family build.
Okay.
That's still part of the approval.
Yes, and that's part of this comprehensive approval process. So it's a
Okay.
secondary technical review. So
Okay.
what you see, for example, on one of these lots with the configuration of the driveway, there's a certain intensity development, limit of disturbance that they're going to generally comply with. There may be some nuance in the grading or the limits, and that would be reflective to the final plot plan so that we can get more accurate counting of the trees and gain more trees back in replenishment.
Okay. Okay, great.
I guess the way I look at it, and correct me if I'm wrong, the rest of the board, is that we've accepted the methodology that they use that's presented in the plan with the proviso and with the stipulation that it will be corrected and refined during construction on a lot by lot basis.
Yeah, during further approval.
During further
of
approvals,
each
right, I'm sorry,
individual
not during
lot.
construction.
So it will be prior, it won't be during the approval to clear the ground and we're standing out there telling them, save that tree. It'll be more
In advance of that.
in advance of that, and
Okay.
more of a planning effort.
Okay, great. And just one other thing I wanted to clarify was that I wrote this report back when there was still snow on the ground, when I walked the site. And it was back in February, and I guess finalized it in March. So I was kind of not aware that there were new plans that came out. So some of the places in this report where I'm asking questions may have been answered already in these revisions. So I'm happy to hear that a lot of those questions were addressed. I became aware of this meeting on Wednesday, so I was going through it and didn't realize all the new plans were up there on the site. So I'm just happy to know that, and I'm going to go back and take a closer look at all the plans. So thank you everyone for.
Thank you for that report. If you wrote it, it was awesome.
Yes, and thank you for reading it. I appreciate that.
Yes, and yeah, believe me, when we look at the report, and one of the first things that I do and many people do is look at the report and see how the plans have changed and, have they addressed those things? And you're right, I had the same questions. I'm looking at these and was pleased to see in the plans that most of them had been addressed.
They do quite a bit of work as volunteers for our township, so.
But we do appreciate the EC's report as a something to work from. So thank you.
Michael Eitman, I was up here earlier. I yielded some time back, but I appreciate the dialogue. Again, I recognize we were going late over here. So really, what I did want to get here on the record is the second piece of what I'd like to ask. Clearly, there's been a lot of discussion, debate, questions from my neighbors, both the ones who were able to attend today, but also there are many more who were not able to attend. I find this kind of dialogue helpful. Clearly, this has been a project that has been in the works for a while, and we've had pretty insufficient notice for a project with this magnitude in our neighborhood. So I'd like to ask respectfully that we have a continuance to allow for proper review. I'd like to re-notify the affected property owners throughout the neighborhood with adequate delivery time outside of vacation season, not just immediately to adjacent properties too, given the impact to the neighborhood. I'd like to ask for a minimum of a 60-day review period, given the complexity of this and our lack of expertise, for the ability for us to properly review. Again, even the woman from the Environmental Commission said she was just made aware of this hearing on Wednesday, right? So there's some information we'd just like to learn more. On that note, I'd like to ask for a community information forum where we can have questions, before a formal hearing. Again, thank you for the graciousness of the applicants to be able to answer that in this forum. But again, to extend this to our broader neighborhood, I'd like to request that as well. And I believe in my lack of expertise, that's probably the extent of my request, and my wife would be happy to have me home soon. So I'll cede from there.
Just for the record, and to the extent it might help everyone if you're not familiar, and certainly the board recognizes those are requests, the law has been satisfied by the applicant. In fact, the law is that so long as the notice is published and is sent, is the law, as you know, from the state legislature, not from the local township committee. For the municipal land use law throughout the state and has been for decades, notwithstanding requests for change, including enlarging the 10-day period. Such requests have been made by many. That request was made by this township in the past, frankly. But the law, that all that this board can do is required for jurisdictional purposes that the applicant publish the notice at least 10 days prior, which they did, and they have to prove it, and they proved it, and send it by certified mail. We can all probably discuss our view of the U.S. mail system for another day, maybe several days, but not tonight. That is their requirement. That is all the board can require. That said, I'm sure the board recognizes the request. It was a request, recognizing that it can't be required.
Yeah, and I would also, again, just like to note the timing, given the extensiveness of the planning and development, the timing to be sent when many of my neighbors are not in town. It feels to defy some of the spirit of that law. So, but yeah, thank you. That is all I have.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I can just address that. Obviously, Mr. Warner is right with regard to what the MLU provides. my office makes it a habit of trying to get stuff out kind of almost as soon as we know what the hearing date's going to be. We've got it out more than 10 days in advance in this case. And frankly, I understand that it seems like a complicated process to the neighbors and to the people who showed up here today. We've got a conforming subdivision. We found some 3 minor deviations here tonight, but we've gone through TCC. It's all been reviewed by both the prior consultants to the board and to the current consultants to the board. This is not a use variance. It'd be a different board if it was. It's not quite as complicated maybe as it sounds, and so I can't consent to that sort of extension. And I in fact thank the chairman and the members of the board for letting us get started first tonight and get through and staying past 10 o'clock time frame.
No, thank you. Yeah, I would we did as a township, lobby or encourage the state and modify the MUL law on notice, both on timing and on distance. It has not gone anywhere as far as I know, but that was an effort that started several years ago by the township to increase that. It just hasn't happened yet. There are things that we might be able to do in the township. We have advocated and trying to get our plans out as soon as possible and available to the public. You know, they do go up online. If we could do that any sooner, that would probably be a help. But you know, there's other things, some things we can do in the township, and we will certainly be looking at, have looked at, and we'll continue to. Because I notice, 10 days is not a lot for most people. So not a lot for us in some cases. No. Yeah. So appreciate the comments and the requests, but we won't be continuing this one. I don't believe. So thank you. Any other? Do you want to, or is that part of your summary? You want to do it again?
Now, we did touch on my summary. I have no other.
Just for clarification, I'm sorry to interrupt, Mr. Chairman. We're closing the public comment.
Yes, I'm closing the public. Yeah, seeing no one standing.
The applicant has no further witnesses.
No further witnesses.
Okay.
Then it's appropriate for the applicant to do what was just started, the summation.
Okay. Thank you.
I kind of touched on the summation, Mr. Chairman. As I say, you've got something that's kind of unusual, and as applicants attorney, even as a board attorney, the boards I sit, you don't see that often, which is an application is essentially fully compliant. That was in fact the intention. Like I said, we have found a couple small things. The basin lot is not quite as deep as it should be. However, we think, as Mr. Explained through, Mr. Hartman explained, we don't think it really applies the concept of having a certain depth to a basin lot. It's not a house lot, doesn't need a backyard, et cetera. However, to the degree that we need a variance for that, we ask the board give one. There's no detriment at all to that, having a slightly bigger usable lot throughout the subdivision is better. You can understand some of the lots substantially exceed the minimum required size and the various dimensions. In fact, they have a slightly undersized basin lot. It doesn't cause any detriment anywhere. We found tonight, as we look through, that we have a mistake with regard on the table apparently with regard to the width at the frontage, or excuse me, the setback. For the one lot, we'd asked.
Frontage. I think it was the frontage.
Yeah, that in the overall scheme of things here, that's a minor deviation. And then we have the wall, which, as explained, once we make changes to the landscaping, you're not going to see that from the road or from the neighbors. I think you can tell we've been careful with what we've done here. We tried to pay attention to what the township professionals and board professionals have recommended. Contacted by one of the neighbors, we immediately responded. We're trying to be sensitive to the land that's there. This is not a clear-cut operation. This is not throw in a straight road and throw up some spec houses. We want this to be a nice neighborhood, a thoughtful neighborhood, and to the degree that the board has come up with questions with requests or concerns, we've read on the record, and I'm sure Mr. Warner will go through conditions that we're more than willing to comply with. So I'd ask that the board approve the subdivision application together with those three, I think, rather minor variances.
Mr. Chairman, with your permission, before I do my usual tee it up, as I sometimes say, do you want to do a quick motion to extend the meeting to 10:45 with a voice vote so that we're...
Maybe he can get it done quickly.
Well, yeah.
Give you 5 minutes. You can talk
10:45 or less.
10:45 or less, is that?
That's okay. We'll
That's
say,
okay.
yeah, let's get this
Thank
done.
Then I'll tee it up with your permission,
Yes,
Mr.
please
Chairman.
do.
The applicant is seeking a preliminary and final major subdivision, 3 lots to 12 lots. 3 variances have been identified. The lot depth on the stormwater basin lot 4512. The retaining wall height, 7.5 feet versus 6 feet maximum permitted on that same stormwater management facility lot 4512. And the roughly a half a foot, if I recall correctly, deviation on the lot width at the frontage of lot 4503, right? Those are the 3 deviations, as I have them in addition to preliminary and major subdivision relief sought. The conditions, if it's a motion to grant, I'll assume are all the conditions stipulated to by or on behalf of the applicant, including but not limited to those set forth in the TCC report of February 17. Many of the ones that were set forth, to the extent they already have not been satisfied, in the Environmental Commission report of March 23, 2025, the SMCMUA letter August 13. There were no comments or questions or concerns from the site review committee and from the fire department. There was also the stipulation of Mott McDonald's review of the sanitary sewer connection as a condition of approval. And there were a few, or more than a few, that were clarified this evening as additional stipulated to commissions, including the screening for the stormwater basin lot from the neighbor across the street at lot 36. The specifics of which I assure you I got it here, but it'll take 5 minutes alone just to read that one. The lot by lot remediation and replacement plan as was one of the recommendations of the Environmental Commission for tree replacement and tree removal and replacement. The direct roof draining on lot 4503 away from lot 44. No trees down in the wooded area behind lot 4503, which among other things ensures what may be an Indiana bat habitat. We have topsoil reserve pile relocated further away from lot 46.
I think actually, Steve, we're going to show them as on individual plot plans where the piles were.
All the piles, okay. And they'll be subject to review and approval by our engineering department? And Morris County, that's right. Well, we higher authority of the county. Street lights, what do I have here? Are compliant with RSIS. Well, compliant with RSIS, I guess.
In the neighborhood.
There might be.
To be reviewed for consistency with the existing Eagle Nest.
Right. Thank you. The request of the TC, the Township Committee, for the dedication of the detention basin lot and the road.
I have prohibiting driveways.
Well, yeah, I haven't gotten to that one yet. Minor repair, the minor repair on the stormwater inlet lot on Three Gables associated, that was requested by the member of the public. Repair in kind with respect to the sidewalk improvement. And I haven't gotten to that one, but the no prohibition, I haven't gotten to it yet, but, no cutoff of any utilities to 4502. I had it somewhere. Well, in any event, the no, help me out, Joe.
So as discussed, it was deed
I know I wrote it.
restriction on the 3 lots.
Oh, the 3 lots, yeah.
At
Near
Eagles
Eagle
Nest
Nest
and
Road,
Squirrel.
those lots being 4505, 4506, and 4507 will be prohibited by deed restriction from having direct access to Eagle Nest Road
Or Squirrel.
or Squirrel Run.
So, right, so alternatively, it would just be per the approval that all new lots need to be accessed from the proposed subdivision road.
And we have that on transcript, which will be utilized for purposes of drafting a resolution.
The existing that go out, right, so it's probably cleaner by deed.
Did I forget anything, Liz?
Yeah, right.
I think that you said something about not cutting off the
Utilities.
44.
44, right?
Yeah.
Oh, from 40, yeah, okay, they were going to be working on 4502, but to lot 44, correct. Thank you. So I think those were all the conditions of approval that were stipulated to on behalf of the applicant. So again, if it's a motion to grant, I'll understand it to be a motion to grant the preliminary and final major subdivision together with the 3 deviations, lot depth, retaining wall height, and lot width at the frontage for that particular lot, as well as all those stipulated 2 conditions.
Just, do you want to then include the review and acceptance of all the proposed easements in the?
Well, that's standard, but yes.
Mr. Chairman, going through, I agree, I've seen Mr. Warner's language, obviously, but all the topics
That's right.
I had are the same ones I had on my notes.
Okay.
We're in agreement.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, maybe I can get this started with a motion to approve, subject to discussion.
I second that.
Is there any discussion?
I have a comment, because again, Mr. Warner always does such a great job going through everything, but in a little bit, I do want it on the record that we heard from, this is new construction going into a well-established neighborhood though. And so just want to be sure, which I know the applicant will adhere to, though we talked about, hours of construction vehicles. This is a neighborhood that has families and children. And again, it's kind of like it's right way at the top. So just want to make sure that we, the township, will make sure that we follow up and that everything's adhered to because of that, especially that this is an area that, we want to make sure that you should be careful everywhere, but especially in a very well-established neighborhood with a lot of families with children. And this will be a couple-year project, so it's important.
Really quick, I just want to thank the applicant and the applicant's team for being so accommodating to not just the planning board, but especially to the residents and their concerns. I know everything change is difficult, but I think you've done an admirable job on the plan and being accommodating. And I would hope that as construction gets underway, if the planning board does approve this, that you will continue to be accommodating to the residents and their concerns as if and when they do come up.
Any other comments? I would like to express my appreciation. Till I got around, I saw the plans and looked at the plans and kind of looked reasonable. And it wasn't until I walked the plot that I truly appreciated how much care you seem to take in citing and in developing that plan and, routing the road and some of the trees through areas that were relatively clear, not wooded, to minimize the number of wooded areas that weren't coming out. It wasn't, as I said, walking the site got some appreciation for the care that went into the plan itself. I appreciate that. You just said it wasn't just a clear cut, which I've seen too many places, too many times. So thank you for that.
Maybe just a quick thank you to the neighbors also for the quality of their input and the questions we got today. Not often you get that, so.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No more discussion? I guess, could you call the roll? Sonny?
Mr. Alonso.
Yes.
Mr. Barrett.
Yes.
Mr. Flowers.
Yes.
Mr. Rabbit.
Yes.
Ms. Murphy.
Yes.
Mr. Benoit.
Yes.
Mr. Quillen.
Yes.
Ms. Bariglia.
Yes.
Mr. Bond.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Again,
you.
Thank you for staying late and letting us finish.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I do want to make a comment that I don't think we're closed yet, right? We
No,
still-
not-
Right,
Not yet. No.
Not yet.
right.
We can't adjourn until you make the motion.
Before I make the motion, I just want to go on record. I want to appreciate the engineering department for getting on, I'm not sure, I call it the Kelsey and Edwards building, but they finally landscaped in front of the generator.
I was going to comment on that. Yes.
It looks really good. So now if we could just get the light shut off.
Good. Please hold down the conversation. We're not quite done yet. Thank
We
you.
didn't adjourn.
Now if we could just get the lights toned down at the Provident Bank.
Yeah.
You retire. in peace.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Good luck.
I'd like to make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good night, everybody, and
Yeah.
thank you for coming in.
Yes, thank you, everyone.